All right, hello YouTube. Welcome to Geekery Abides, episode 45. I had to look at the screen there. I don't know why. The Dark Tower numbers are all in my head, so suddenly going back from 156 down to 45, it throws me off. So we're here for episode 45, though. We're going to be talking Haunting of Hill House for the main topic, but of course we have all of our normal shenanigans to get to first. Let's go ahead and hit the intro and get the podcast part started first, which that's a hard thing to say, apparently. Let's hit it.
He who is ashamed of his geekery has forgotten the face of Stan Lee.
This is the podcast, Geekery Abides.
Hello and welcome to Geekery Abides, episode 45. We are here to talk all things geeky that are not Stephen King. In this episode, primarily the main topic will be on Haunting of Hill House, but of course we got plenty of news and watching, reading, playing stuff to cover first. My name is Tad, and with me as always is Peter, and we are here in the second and final episode in spooky season in the official sense, because here at Geekery Abides, spooky season is all year. So
that's right.
Which I think follows. I think we've done a couple. I think we did at least one horror episode this year.
We did top 10 horror films, and we actually did something else too.
Yeah, I feel like we've done a couple horror things earlier in the year too. Like it was like in the first quarter of the year, most likely. So we definitely and honestly,
I remember you saying like spooky seasons all year.
Yeah, indeed. And it's not to say that here in the next couple months we won't have another spooky topic. So I know one that's been out there that I've thought about is like top 10 slasher kills.
Yeah,
that'd be a fun one.
That would be a lot of fun.
All kinds of grisly stuff. But yeah, let's go ahead and first of all hit the emails. If you want to email the show, you can send emails to Peter or Tad at geekeryabides.com. Peter is spelled as you would spell it anywhere other than Russia. Tad is spelled T-A-D-D. Just our first names there at geekeryabides.com. Whichever of us you want to email directly. We produce the shows every other. This is my episode. I get the odds. Peter gets the evens.
Yep.
So if you have any feedback, show ideas, whatever you might have, that's the way to reach out to us. So that is the emails. Let's go on over to watching, reading, playing. And hello, Lydia in the chat. Looks like just her and you right now. I don't know where Hato Potato's at. We had him for a second in the other show, but maybe he'll pop in. Who knows? I don't know what he's got going.
It's Hayden. You never know.
Yeah, indeed. He's always up to hijinks and shenanigans.
It's true. He learned it from you.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know about that, sir. So let's go ahead and start with you on watching, reading, playing. What do you got?
Watched the new episode of Ghosts, the show that's on Paramount, today. Completely spaced watching the new episode of Agatha. Don't know how I forgot that. I know, right? Like, came into a Geekery Abides episode not watching the most recent Marvel thing. How dare I?
I'm going to also say best episode of the season so far, too.
Oh, man.
It's a good one.
You got to tease me like that?
It's a good one.
I did watch Penguin, though, so
yeah.
I remember to watch that. And then we watched a horror movie together. We got together last week and watched a horror movie, The Wretched.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I wonder if I even put that on my list. I think I pulled it from my planned list, so I actually didn't put that one on mine. So, good call.
Yeah, The Wretched, which is a story of a...
On Shudder.
Yeah, on
Shudder. Really
it's
fun,
a
too.
Teenage boy, 17 years old, goes to visit his dad. His mom and his dad are separated, divorced. I don't really remember if they ever, actually covered it. And, come to find out that the summer neighbors next to his dad, because the house is like a Airbnb kind of thing, like a rental, summer rental, the mother of this family of 4, 2 little boys, is possessed by a witch.
Yeah.
And he has to battle her. So it's like drama with that, but it was very gory.
Yeah.
Very gruesome.
It was glorious.
It was great.
It was great.
It was good fun to be had all around, especially with Hato Potato there.
Indeed.
I'm not reading anything currently.
Oh, and you watched Anchorman too.
Oh, I did watch Anchorman after we watched the Wretched. We had to watch a good comedy movie after
with
watching
Hayden,
The Wretched.
which
Hayden.
that had to have been an experience for
He
you.
loves that movie so much. He was quoting a lot of it, so
Yeah.
it's so fun.
It's
Yeah,
it's a big one for him, that's for sure.
absolutely. I still haven't been reading anything. I have one podcast that I listen to aside from Hardcore History, which only drops an episode every 9 to 12 months.
Did you hear he lost his artist? Passed away.
Oh no, I didn't hear that.
It's done every cover art for him since day one.
Oh no.
So young guy too. So
Oh, that's sad.
yeah, that's a bummer. So
Yeah, so I've just been listening to that one. That felt very much like that. So, anyways, I feel bad for doing that.
yeah,
So close
no,
together.
I get it. It's hard to segue,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely a bummer to hear.
Yeah, so
I saw something post wise from him, and I'm like, oh my god, a new episode. And I read that, I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So I've just been listening to this old podcast that I would listen to a while ago. Stopped listening for a while, so I've been listening to like the backlog of stuff that I haven't listened to. I'm all caught up now, so it's going to be interesting to see what I listen to at work on Monday. I don't know if it'll be back into Desperation or if I'll do something else. I did spend a credit on Audible on something.
yeah.
Uh,
Me too. I don't remember what the.
I don't remember the name of it, but it's a Batman novel.
They were threatening me with losing credit, so I had to go in and spend a couple.
Yeah,
so.
I had 5 that I have until I think it's December to use. So I went and used one when I saw this. I was like, you know what? Why not? It's called Batman Resurrection, and it takes place in between Batman and Batman Returns.
Oh, okay.
So the 1989 Batman, Michael Keaton Batman, and Batman Returns with Penguin and Catwoman. So
Yeah.
like the fallout of Joker's death and the Joker gang and stuff like that is what it sounds like. So I don't know. I might try to finish Desperation, but I got 14 hours left of it, and I'm just, dude, it's not hitting.
Yeah.
It's just not hitting me right. So it's just like I might jump over to this Batman novel instead.
Yeah.
But then I've been playing Dead by Daylight, Madden, Red Alert 2. I threw on, played a couple games on the skirmish mode of that, and then I played the first few levels of Halo.
Oh yeah.
Loaded up the Master Chief Collection and just, dude, I got a craving for Halo. You sent me those images of the Halo redone in the Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Unreal
Yeah.
Engine 5?
Looks glorious.
Dude, so good. Looks so good. So I got the craving to go play Halo, and I'm learning Halo on the mouse and keyboard.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Doing that. I'm getting the hang of it. I still melee when I'm meaning to throw a grenade sometimes, and throw a grenade when I'm meaning to melee, which has led to some hijinks when you
Yeah.
run up behind an elite trying to assassinate him and you stick him with a sticky grenade.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That'll happen.
and then I did play the new Mario Party on Thursday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got that for my daughter for her birthday. So
That's
Mario
fun.
Party Jamboree.
Mario's fun.
Yeah.
The books I ended up getting, I ended up doing Return of the King, Two Towers, but I couldn't buy the Fellowship of the Ring because apparently they're giving it to you for free until someday. I can't remember, it was the 27th of this month or something.
Oh.
They're just giving it to Audible members for free right now. It's the one that Andy Serkis did.
Yeah.
Because he narrated them. It's a new recording with him.
Okay.
And so it kind of irritated me. I'm like, well, I'm not going to read them in the next like couple weeks, so
Yeah.
just fucking let me buy it. So I ended up using another credit on a book called Nuclear War. It's,
Of course you did.
It's it's getting a lot of hype. Actually, Dan Carlin did an episode with the author on his Hardcore History Addendum podcast, and basically she went through and researched heavily. I think they said that she I want to remember if I remember hearing right, she actually got flagged by like the intelligence agencies because of the amount of people she was talking to, like high ranking, like State Department, high military ranking people. Because basically what she did is she did a thing of like, okay, a nuclear bomb happens. Like what is going to happen almost second by second, and she interviewed people dating back to the Kennedy, and it basically plays it like a fiction, like it basically so it's written like it's a story that you're reading, but it's so detailed and like researched that most likely it's the reality of what it would look like if like North Korea nuked someone.
Oh, wow.
And like I said, it's like second by second. So that's on my list to read at some point. But
You're gonna have to let us know how that is. That sounds very interesting.
yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it. So, and then reading, I'm still reading Thrawn Alliance, which is the second in the Thrawn books. I'm not playing anything. I haven't played any games. There hasn't been time.
Not with your horror fest going
yeah,
on.
there hasn't been time for that.
I'm ready for it.
So The Wretched, did watch that as a bonus. Salem's Lot, another bonus one that I watched, wasn't on my list. Also watched Agatha All Along, of course, The Penguin, and I watched the entire fourth season of Slow Horses.
Oh, I guess I forgot to add. I did watch Haunting of Hill House.
Oh yeah, there is that too. But yeah, Slow Horses. It's the Gary Oldman spy thing. I think I've told you about it once before on this podcast. It's basically like almost like the losers and rejects of MI5 are putting this thing in. Gary Oldman's not so much a loser, but he's the one in charge. So he's pissed someone off, got put there. And anyone that just gets like whatever. So they're kind of like a ragtag group, and it's Gary Oldman. So of course I'm going to watch it. And
you sign up for anything Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman could stand there pretending to be a houseplant, and you'd watch it.
I mean, yeah, it'd probably be worthy of an Oscar too. The only thing that's annoying is I think it's British, so I think there's only 6 episodes per season, although they've been releasing almost 2 seasons a year. Like you'll get like a season early in the year and a season late in the year, so it's like can't necessarily complain. Yeah. It's not like Stranger Things where it takes them fucking 5 years to do 8 episodes. So
yeah, where the kids who are supposed to be 13 or 28 now.
Yeah, pretty much. They're on AARP by the time the show wraps.
Yeah.
And then getting to the horror movies outside of The Wretched.
Oh boy, here we go.
So after the last episode, I watched The Thing from Outer Space. That is the original thing, which was interesting to watch. I've seen a couple scenes from it because they show it in Halloween. So there's a couple scenes where I'm like, oh.
Nope, I didn't recognize that.
30 Days of Night.
Vampires.
Some good vampire stuff. Brilliant premise, man. Vampires in Alaska. And the thing is in reality, that part of Alaska doesn't get sun for 67 days.
Yeah.
So 30 Days of Night, they've cut it in less than half for the sake of the story. But it's like, dude, how brilliant would that be? Like, to put if you're a vampire, to go in an area there where it's like, oh, you're not going to have daylight for 67 days. Like,
great.
That's one of the primary weapons against vampires is daylight.
Time to feast.
Yeah, it's like 24-hour feasting. Okay. The Unborn. Has Gary Oldman as well. It's a possession movie, and Gary Oldman's a rabbi, so that was kind of interesting. Sting, the spider movie, that was a lot of fun. Crawl, the alligator hurricane movie, which is apropos because one of the 2 hurricanes
Milton
had just hit when I was watching it. I was like, ooh. And then I actually saw like a real news thing where it was like a guy went back to his house and the basement was flooded, had a gator in there. I was like, yeah, I just saw that movie.
You're like, no.
The Curse of La Llorona. That's a fun Mexican demon. The Strangers. That was fun. You're Next. The one with the fox rabbit mask, something with the killer and the rich people. When a Stranger Calls. That was an interesting one. Don't Breathe. Definitely one of the MVPs of this watch list so far. That was a great one. Oddity. That was really fun as well. The Last Voyage of the Demeter. That was the another vampire one. A lot of vampires in this, and then Salem's Lot on top of it. I saw the TV Glow. Clown. Finally watched that.
Did you?
How many years ago?
Oh my god!
So
we talked about watching that at work one night, like just. End of the shift. Everyone stay. We'll get a projector and watch it.
Turn all the lights off and watch it. Yeah. Although I'm glad that never panned out because it turns out that has never been released in America. And the disc I bought off Amazon is British, so it's region 2.
Oh.
So it wouldn't work. I had to buy it on like Voodoo to actually watch it. So I'm still trying to decide if I want to like rip it into my computer and then burn it as a region 1 and then put it in the burn a disc and put it on there and put it on my shelf or just throw it away. I haven't decided. Infested. That was a fun one with another.
That's the one we almost watched.
Another spider one, yeah. Although I didn't realize because we were debating about subtitles. That was actually in French. That was a French one. Hush, the Mike Flanagan slasher movie.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. The Shallows. Do you remember that one with the Blake Lively?
She's trapped on a rock and hurt, and there's sharks.
Yeah. Shark. I guess there was only. I thought there was multiple, but there is only one. But
I thought there was like 5 sharks or 10 sharks.
Yeah, just the one. Drag Me to Hell. which was Sam Raimi's return to horror after over a decade of not doing horror movies.
Of doing Spider-Man.
It was pretty great. He did a couple things before that too, where he did like the Young Guns, the Western. He did a couple other things where it felt like he just moved off from horror, which sucks. So in 2009, when he did Drag Me to Hell, it was awesome. The Mothman Prophecies, that one was a little bit more thriller than horror, so that was whatever. And then Train to Busan, the very famous zombie movie from Korea. So here's a question that came up while watching that one. It was good, by the way, except the fact they were running zombies.
Yeah.
But the question, I don't want to bring it up here. At what point are we going to get to a spot where people know what fucking zombies are when it starts? Because, again, you just heard my list. I've seen a number of vampire things over the course of the month so far. How many vampire things do people not know what vampires are? They all know what they are.
Yeah.
Now, it's the question of believing it as a rational adult, where it's like, vampires aren't real. That's from comic books or horror movies. Like, so that's like the struggle. But whereas zombies, every fucking one, nobody knows what they are.
What's going on?
And it's like we've had zombies now for 60-something years. I mean, dating back to 1968.
Yeah.
So it's like, at what point can a person make a movie that the people know, like, well, no, zombies don't exist. That's shit from movies. You know, like, it was just a thought I had during that, because it was just
good.
like everyone you think of it, every movie you've ever seen, it's always a matter of like them having to learn, wait, what's going on? Like, what's happening? So I would recommend that one to you, especially because you're not scared of subtitles. Also, there might be someone that infuriated me more than Mrs. Carmody.
Oh, my God.
It was bad.
I don't know if I want to watch it then. I might break my TV.
So that is my watching. That is my heavy watching, reading, playing. One more episode. I'll have the rest of my month to cover. Nice. I will say I'm behind. I had a concert last night.
Oh, yeah.
We had general admission tickets, so that meant I had to go very early to get in line to get good spot.
Yeah.
It worked out. There's actually VIP people that pay a hell of a lot of money to get the VIP, and those people were let in a half hour early, so they're always going to be in the very front, which is fine. I ended up 2 people in front of me, and then it was the
nice.
stage. So it
So
was
you got a good seat.
I was pretty damn close.
Was
Yeah,
it a seat?
No,
It was a seat?
No.
No, you're standing?
Yeah. My feet don't still hurt. There's a little bit. Dude, walking out though, like the first my legs couldn't bend. Like when I went to go up the stairs, because
You were like Forrest Gumping it.
because I had been standing for like 4.5 hours or something like that on concrete. So yeah, it took me a bit to like bend my legs to get up the stairs, the first couple stairs. And after that, it was just walking very painfully because my feet hurt.
Oh yeah,
so,
absolutely.
it was a lot of fun though. But because of that chunk of time, I had some odds and ends to do early in the day, so I couldn't fit my movie last night. I'll be able to fit it somewhere today, tomorrow, something like that.
Yeah, you got the rest of today and all of tomorrow. So
yeah, so I should have thought about that.
Yeah,
because I knew I had general admission tickets, so I probably should have just like not planned that day or something. But whatever, you know, Fridays for me are my busier days.
Absolutely,
so.
that's where you like to do your runarounds and errands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My wife sent in watching Ghost, Criminal Minds. She watched Scream 2 for the first time, Halloween H2O for the first time, rewatched The Craft, watched Christine for the first time, Insidious, An American Werewolf in London for the first time, The Wretched, Anchorman, Agatha all along, reading a book called First Lie Wins, and then playing Super Mario Jamboree in Disney Dreamlight Valley.
That's awesome.
And then she says, right behind you, Tad?
Maybe Don't Breathe?
Oh, yeah, that's probably what it is. I thought she was like, she saw a ghost or something. Like, Jesus.
Nah, they work for me, sir.
That's true.
Same with the werewolves.
They're on
my team, too.
Especially with the moon right now. Have you seen the moon recently? It's like the last couple of days?
I know the day before last was a full moon. Well, that's what a drunk person told me.
Super.
Because somebody threw a little stuffed werewolf on stage.
Oh, really?
And then Bruce Dickinson picked it up. So, oh, it's a little werewolf. He's like, is it a full moon tonight? A drunk person behind me yelled, no, last night. So I assume 2 nights ago was the full moon. So
it's still pretty bright and pretty full. So
yeah. So also,
I need to get home before dark.
The other funny thing I wanted to mention about the concert, the opening band was a band called The Who. And no, not The Who.
Not The Who?
The Who, but it's HU. They're a Mongolian metal band.
Are you serious?
And dude, they have like throat singing.
Oh,
and
wow.
like all their shit's in Mongolian. They had a normal guitar player. They had 2 drummers, a full drum set, and then a guy had like these big like drums with like the big stick things, like
like the
almost
big,
like tribal,
like bass drum. Kind of things.
Big things. And then 2 of the guy. There's 1 guitar player normal, but 2 guitar guys. Their guitar, the one closest to me, I think it had 2 strings on it, heavy like bass strings,
Whoa.
and he played it with a bow.
Whoa.
So like it was really fucking cool.
That's rad.
It was pretty fucking cool. And then the only other really funny story was when Iron Maiden started. Apparently, I don't know if something was switched off, but they first started the first song, no one could hear anything.
Oh.
Like it was, and it
Flip the switch.
yeah, and like I don't know if something popped, like a breaker, because like the Who was fine, but then like midway through the first song, like they just hit the switch and just suddenly fucking wall of sound, just everyone could hear.
All of Iron Maiden.
Everyone lost their mind, of course, but like yeah, there was like confusion. I think they can kind of tell too, because like they're not seeing the reaction they would normally see when opening the show, right? Because everyone goes nuts when the band first comes out.
Right.
So that was a funny little thing there.
That is funny.
Let's go on over to the news now. The first one here, we have some Penguin speculation.
All right.
Did Penguin tease Poison Ivy? And this isn't the latest episode. This is a few episodes back. In episode 3, there was a new drug, and when they go to the warehouse, Oz spots shipments marked coming from Arkham State Hospital.
Yeah.
They said that they are blood red spores from the tops of a very fragile mushroom.
Right.
So that raises the question.
Who's making these mushrooms?
Yeah, who would be capable of dealing with what they quote unquote called a fragile mushroom and spores from a fragile mushroom?
Okay.
So, I mean, of course, this is the Matt Reeves verse. So it's again, we talked about this the other day or the last week at lunch, where I mentioned Poison Ivy to be someone cool to bring in. And you're like, I don't know if he could do it. I'm like, yeah, you don't have to have like fucking giant plants that are coming and swallowing Batman to like hold him,
But
like,
make her a really extreme botanist.
yeah, extreme botanist, maybe even like mix her into pharmaceuticals a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some speculation that's been happening online where people are like, does Ivy exist in this world? I remember thinking the same thing. I just didn't like hold the thought long enough to like remember it and bring it to the show. So when I saw the coverage on, I'm like, you know what? I had that thought too, because the Arkham thing threw me off. I'm like, wait, like mental hospital / prison, and there's like drugs coming out of there to come into the city? Like that seems backwards.
Well, I mean, but we saw in the latest episode that they're using it to keep the prisoners in line.
Yeah.
So like the crazy one that's the neighbor, she's getting it for spying on her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh, that's what it's for. But Sophia is the one that brings it out.
Yeah.
It's not like they're shipping it out. She brings it out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff, though.
Because she recognizes the potential for it.
Yeah, indeed. Also, are you guys watching Agatha tonight, then?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Because I want to hear...
We meant to watch it yesterday, but it just slipped through the
I know
cracks.
it won't be the show, but I do want a text to hear your guys' response.
Absolutely.
It is my favorite episode. A lot of people, even before the episode aired, speculated of what it might be, because it's like the reveal of the last episode. Like,
oh, yeah.
Most likely you're probably going to then figure out like what. So that was the big speculation even before the episode aired. So I might hint that that's maybe what's happening. So next up, James Gunn kills a Brave and the Bold rumor. So apparently the rumor has arisen again, because this isn't new. We covered this ages ago. But this came up again that Batman would be middle-aged. And Gunn picked up on it on social media and responded with one word: bullshit.
Good.
So it sounds like Batman is not going to be an older Batman. Previously, Gunn said, quote, Superman was younger than in his 40s, and Batman might be a couple years older than Superman. So that's the end of that quote. So with Superman actor David Cornsweet being 30 when he shot the film, that would put Batman in his early 30s most likely as well. Even if he's a couple years older.
If you're looking at atypical Batman, 25 is usually the year that he comes back from wherever he got his training. He goes abroad and he comes home and he's decided to be Batman.
Yeah.
He's gone and got training. He's gone and done whatever. League of Assassins, Ra's al Ghul, whatever the original storyline.
Yeah.
The origin story that you're going with. He comes back usually around 25. Maybe they're bumping back a little bit, so he's in his early 30s.
Yeah. So and then going.
So
on,
he's a veteran. He's not new.
Yeah, he's not new, but definitely not going to be an older grizzled guy. I think a lot of people paste that together because of the Damian Wayne thing. Because I think Damian Wayne shows up when Batman's a bit older. So I think when James Gunn has, and this is I have the quote from that. This is the introduction of DCU's Batman. That's the story of, and this is a story of Damian Wayne, who is Batman's actual son, who he didn't know existed for the first 8 to 10 years of his life.
Right.
He was raised as a little murderer and assassin, and he's a little son of a bitch. He's my favorite Robin. This is a quote that Gunn gave us previously.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people have just taken that and jumped to the idea that like that's the 4th or 5th Batman. Like it's probably going to be
4th and 5th
or Robin, so it's going to be a Batman that's a little bit more long in the tooth, but he's now throwing water on that.
What if he's the first Robin?
Yeah, very well could be.
Your son becomes Robin. Not Dick Grayson, the little orphan boy. What if it's...
Does Batman just go to orphanages like people go to pounds? And just grabs the kid, feels their arm. Oh, he's got a little. He's sinewy. Let's get one with a little more muscle.
Let's be perfectly honest, okay? Let's go through them real
Slaps.
fast. Let's go through them real fast and dispel this whole orphan thing.
Slaps the kid across the face to see if he starts crying. Oh, this one's weak. I don't want him.
Stop it. He finds Dick Grayson at the circus when his parents are murdered by mobsters. It's not like he goes to an orphanage. Tim Drake is trying to steal the wheels off of the Batmobile, and he brings him home to give him a hot meal and stuff and everything. He doesn't just go to an orphanage. Get out of here.
Oh, I love the spirit. And then Peter Safran, James Gunn's partner in crime, had a quote as well, which I found very interesting because I don't know that I've heard this before. I don't know if it's a newer quote, and I think you might like this.
Okay.
And this is obviously a feature film, and it's going to feature other members of the extended Bat family.
Good.
Just because we feel like they've been left out of the Batman stories in theaters for far too long.
Huntress, Batgirl.
I thought you might be excited by that because I don't think I had heard that before.
Yeah.
I know we talked the Damian Wayne thing. We've talked about the rumors of older Batman and stuff. So, and the other thing is, I wanted to mention, I was hoping this would be a talk about the rumor that Brave and the Bold might get killed because of Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not talking about that still. So who knows if that's even real or not. So,
yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead and move on.
Can I mention one thing I saw online about James Gunn and Batman?
Yeah.
I saw a video where a guy's like, "I'm not letting this die." That a few months ago, James Gunn was tweeted at by someone who said that if Batman and Superman's first interaction in the DCEU is in a cafe, in their suits, just like how it should have ended. So
I don't think he said the first time we see them together.
That's
but it's just
what it said in the videos. The first time we see them together, the first interaction is in a cafe. I will eat a shoe. And James Gunn goes, "Give me details on what I have to do to get you to eat a shoe." And he's like, first interaction. And he spells it out. First interaction is in a cafe. That's a shoe. If I can't remember, the second one was another shoe, and he says the third one is if randomly at some point Batman goes, "I'm Batman," in the middle of their conversation, I'll eat a third shoe. And James Gunn's like, "Noted." And so I'm just like, dude, I swear to God, if Superman walks into a cafe and Batman's sitting there and they're having a fucking cup of coffee, I want to see the video of this dude eating a shoe.
Yeah.
Because James Gunn's got his number. He knows.
He'll probably disappear if it
He
happens.
probably will.
But still, imagine if you're that guy, though, and you actually spark, if you spark that to happen, you could then be like, hey, that's because of me. That's a pretty big deal for just a normal run-of-the-mill human being.
My wife, I sent the video to her, said if the second shoe is if they explain how to solve each other's problems. So Batman solves Superman's problems, Superman solves Batman's problems.
Yeah.
I hope it happens now. It won't, but I hope so.
So next, did he specify live action?
Yeah, he said for the DCEU. Yeah.
Because I mean, the way that they're talking, they want the DCEU or the DCU's animated and live action to all be cohesive.
Yeah.
So you could very well do it animated. And
oh boy.
Next up, we've got James Gunn sharing the first image of Krypto, the Kryptonian dog.
Oh yeah, little fluffy boy.
So Gunn, and then he also gave a kind of a heartfelt story here. Gunn said in the post, said, quote, "Krypto arrives on screens in Superman this summer. Krypto was inspired by our dog Azu, who was adopted shortly after I started writing Superman. Azu, who came from a hoarding situation in a backyard with 60 other dogs and never knew human beings, was problematic to say the least. He immediately came in and destroyed our home, our shoes, our furniture. He even ate my laptop. It took a long time before he would even let us touch him. I remember thinking, gosh, how difficult would life be if Azu had superpowers? And thus Krypto came into the script and changed the shape of the story as Azu was changing my life. What a better time to debut the not so good boy Krypto than hashtag adopt a shelter dog month. By the way, Azu today is fairly often a very good boy. Hashtag Superman.
Very often a good boy.
So, yeah, and then apparently, from what I understand, the design of Krypto is inspired from their dog Ozu.
That's cool.
So, yeah, pretty cool.
I like that.
Yeah, so kind of like the Bat family, that's one of those things that has never really been seen on live action screens for Superman.
Yeah.
So that'll be kind of cool to see. Crypto. Next up, we've got Alien Isolation getting a sequel.
Yeah.
And that's something I never would have counted on just because it's been so goddamn long that game's been out.
Well,
so.
like 2014, 2015, something like that?
So and this is the quote on the 10th anniversary. It seems only fitting to let you know that we have heard your distress calls loud and clear. Today, I'm delighted to confirm on behalf of the team that a sequel to Alien Isolation is in early development. We look forward to sharing more details with you when they are ready.
Hopefully there's a multiplayer mode where the two of you have to go through like different areas.
And a lot of face huggers.
Oh,
I want that face hugger scene from Romulus, that room.
Ooh, where it's just like chasing you.
No, like the whole room where it's like the body temperatures, so like you can't move quickly.
Yeah.
And there's just like fucking 50, 60 face huggers all around the room.
Can't make noise. Just go like full quiet place where you can't.
Oh, yeah. Which, speaking of which...
nice transition.
That is actually, because Quiet Place is getting a video game.
Yeah. Day one? No, not day one.
No, that's the movie.
The Road So Far or something like that is what it's called?
I don't know, but it's getting a game. Game will be able to use your mic, and any sound it picks up from the mic or from you in the game will bring the beasts
road ahead
to you.
Yeah.
So my only complaint is there should be no option for the mic, because there is a game out there that does that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of games that it's an option. I mean, that goes back to like what, Xbox 360. One of the first games that had like the whole mic thing could like whatever. But there's new horror games that have come out where it's like like if you unplug your mic or if it senses that your mic got muted, it'll stop the game and say you've got to have your mic on.
Gotta have it.
So
that's what
they should do for Quiet Place, in my opinion.
Quiet Place: The Road Ahead is available now.
Oh, is it already out?
It released October 17th, which is my daughter's birthday.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. So I lost my place on the slides. There's the next one. Next up, rumor, Scream 7 story details.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
So the film will have two main storylines, one about Sid and her friends from the neighborhood. So it sounds like some, middle-aged neighborhood
Kids on the
watch
block?
type stuff. And the second about her daughter and her group of teen friends, both groups dealing with Ghostface. So you're going to have an older group and a younger group. And also, there's been a rumor out there that I've tagged on to here that allegedly Sydney's daughter is going to be named Tatum Prescott.
Tatum.
Named after her best friend that was killed in the first movie.
Yeah.
So that would be really cool. That would be a very touching naming thing. Because I feel like it'd be easy for it to just be like named after her mom or something. But like Tatum, it's like that was her best friend. Like
what about,
I know in the Scream realm, most of us have probably forgotten about her once you get in these late movies because like
she died in the first one.
Yeah, she died in the first one, but it's like
she's the garage door girl.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
So it's like, but for Sydney, that would have been her best friend. So it's like that should be someone that actually like weighs on her. You know, so that'd be cool.
What's the her son's name should be Randy.
Yeah. Oh, Randy.
Yeah.
The Fallen Prince.
Yep, right.
He's my favorite. I love Randy.
He's so good.
Yeah. Damn Scream 2 killing him off. Let's see. All right. So next up, we've got another rumor. We've got a lot of Marvel rumors, so that's what we're going to get into here. The first one is that Sam Raimi is set to direct Doctor Strange 3.
Yep.
This would be notable because Scott Derrickson, that did the original movie, was signed on to do the second one, did some development on it, decided to leave it, and then Sam Raimi came in, kind of picked it up on the rebound. This would be Sam Raimi from the ground up. I mean, not to say that Multiverse of Madness wasn't Sam Raimi to the fucking T.
Right.
But can you imagine from the writing?
What does he get from the beginning?
The writing level, everything from the ground up, like that could be really fun. So can't wait to see what Mr. Sam Raimi has in store because I absolutely adore him. He is
horror.
He is a national treasure.
It's going to be more horror.
And then I joked about this in our text group, but is Pizza Papa coming back?
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Campbell. So this is
He's gotta, right?
Well, this makes it seem like it. So Bruce Campbell has said some stuff recently, and it has people wondering. He says, "I play Pizza Papa, but you ask yourself, really? In this time, in the timeline, in the Marvel timeline, I'm just a Pizza Papa? Please don't kid yourself. My contract is that thick for that movie." And I think he actually put up like phone book size. So you think that I'm going to sign a contract that thick for a simple little throwaway character? What did I do in the movie? I delayed Doctor Strange. I didn't defeat him. We didn't fight. I delayed him from what? Did I just save Doctor Strange's life? So and then quote, going on, quote, "The Marvel world is really just starting, and again, I can only comment so much." And then previously he was asked about his role, and Campbell says, "I'm not a pizza vendor, okay? That would be a massive mistake to think I'm just some pizza vendor or an usher or a ring announcer or a maitre d'." So he's
going to be all those things.
Because those are all things he's appeared in Spider-Man movies and stuff. So it's like, Is he like the Watcher that's like jumped through different parts of the Marvel multiverse?
Is he the Watcher? Like
not
in the animated.
Not to say he is the Watcher, but a character like that
Yeah.
that like crosses through like multiple realities. But Stan Lee was another one, right?
Yeah.
He popped through in a bunch of different roles and
This is
stuff.
true.
So, and then he says it's called the multiverse, my friend. So yes, he is the same character, but we don't know who he really is. It has not been revealed yet. I just got off the phone with the guys at Marvel, and we're getting really close to finding out. So
And everyone at Marvel's going, shut the fuck up.
yeah, seriously, but he's fucking Bruce Campbell, dude.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you think you
Trank dart him?
Yeah, send your Marvel snipers after him. I fucking dare you. He's got a boomstick,
Yes.
and he will use it.
And a
So,
chainsaw.
indeed. And possessed hand. I love it.
No, the chainsaw replaced the possessed hand.
But the possessed hand is really awesome, too.
That's true.
The deer on the wall.
Yeah.
Tree. Let's not talk about that. All right, next up. And this is actually an interesting rumor because, honestly, I'd never considered this was even a question, but Bucky is allegedly going to be in Cap 4.
He's in the trailer.
No, Thunderbolts. He's in the trailer. I looked it up because I was like, of course he's in it. Thunderbolts is where he puts his arm in the dishwasher and everything. So, yeah, like, the more I started to look into it, the more I realized, like, dude, I completely just assumed he was going to be in it. But apparently there has been no confirmation that Bucky is. Okay, here's the other thing I want to say, too. So let me make sure I covered everything. Yeah, so and then I looked into it. We've only been in Thunderbolts. But here's my theory. I believe these two movies are basically a part 1 and a part 2 for each other. Not to say that like the Thunderbolts has the or the asterisk because the title's going to change or whatever, but I do believe that these are going to be like a 1 and a 2, like Infinity War Endgame type thing. Even though they're different movies with different characters, we've seen like the Celestial in both. There's been a couple things in both that just give me a vibe that like
What if they're going on?
Cap's going to set something up that then Thunderbolts immediately comes out a few months later and is going to continue and finish.
Counterpoint. What if they're both happening at the exact same time?
That could be too something.
What if you're seeing events in Cap 4, like there's a random explosion off in the distance, and you're like, what the hell was that? And everything,
which we've never seen in the MCU, right?
And then we see Thunderbolts, and that's freaking Bucky blowing some shit up.
Yeah, but we've never seen such a crossover with multiple movies in the MCU, right? Like we've seen that in films before, but the MCU is all pretty well self-contained. Like the crossovers are a crossover.
Also like an end credits scene, like Thor's hammer. In, in Iron Man.
But that's
2,
that's
kind of thing. But yeah, Thor doesn't show up in Iron Man movies. Iron Man doesn't show up in Captain America movies,
or even like
except like Civil War,
or even
which
things,
was an Avengers movie,
or even things that are happening at the same time on the same planet, just in different places. And there's some reference, like there's just like that, like two things almost living in the same moment in time in the same reality. Like that would be a new one for MCU. But I have this feeling, man, because there's just through the marketing of both movies, there's just some stuff that makes me think like there's more to these two movies. And I kind of wonder, there has been a suspicion of me that the asterisk is because they're going to flip the fucking title and it's going to be something else.
Captain America 5.
Something, I don't know, man. But yeah, I hadn't even considered the fact, like I said, I actually assumed he was in Cap 4, but apparently doing a bunch of research, no, he has only been...
I swear he's shown in the... I'm going to go watch the trailer.
He has only been shown in the Thunderbolts. So that is awesome. Next up, we got Sebastian Stan, speaking of which, talking about Robert Downey Jr. returning to the MCU. He was talking to GQ, and he said, I hope I'm in a scene with him. Is there any other guy that could pull that off? I don't know. Probably not. After Tropic Thunder, is there anything the guy can't do?
That's true.
Let's see, and then Lydia says that would be such a cool concept if they did it that way, where the movies are happening simultaneously. Yeah, or
I really think that would be such a fascinating concept.
Or even like or just like they rely on each other in some way, where it's like they both have a mission, but then after you've seen both, you realize like both missions were for one common thing. I just don't know. I just feel like because they're coming out the same year too, right? Like, and that isn't the biggest thing because Marvel comes out with multiple movies a year. That's not,
and they haven't necessarily been tied together.
No, but it makes me think like, what better way to take the next step to get to the realm of like it's like comic book events where they have like the Civil War event, and it's like cool, you got the mainline Civil War books, it's like 6 to 8 books or whatever, but every Hulk issue that came out around that time, every Captain America issue around that time, every Spider-Man issue, they all tied into it, and they all were like a corner of that story. So if you want the whole thing, you have to read like 40 comic books. So it's like it feels very comic-y. So That would be pretty cool. And then Sebastian Stan again talking about Marvel getting shit from pretentious filmmakers. He said, "I've never been part of a company that put so much heart and thought into anything. I think if Marvel was gone, it'd be such a big hole to try to fill. Don't just go out there and shit on something without offering something better." So
Yeah.
good thoughts from Mr. Sebastian Stan. Next up, Benedict Wong is ready for Doom. So he said, "Hey, well, look, I'm all for it. I'm ready." With Wong, he's been promoted to Sorcerer Supreme, which I always forget.
Right.
So it's all in the hands of the Marvel universe to see where we go with it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and that's him being asked about Doomsday. So, have a feeling that he's probably going to show up, especially being Sorcerer Supreme. So, next up, we've got some assorted Doomsday and Secret Wars details. This is all rumors. But this is a leaker that had some stuff that, again, this is going to be one of those fun things to watch because down the road we can go back and look at these and see like what was Marvel thrown out there to throw us off and what actually turned out to be true. So these are rumors. The films will have secondary villains that will be replacing the Council of Kangs. So it sounds like originally it would have been Council of Kangs with like the larger thing that I don't know if it would have actually been Doom. Would have been the larger villain. It kind of reminds me of the Children of Thanos from Infinity War. I kind of wonder if that's going to be kind of the vibe where it's like when you've got so many characters, you probably can't have just Doctor Doom. You probably got to have something else. So that's one rumor. Another rumor is the multiverse is still going to exist after Secret Wars. Because there's been a lot of thoughts that'll kind of unify everything up. And it sounds like that's probably going to happen, but it won't happen in a way to where every other universe is wiped out and it's down to one universe is the only thing that exists.
Yeah.
The multiverse will still exist, but most likely the 616 is going to be pretty...
our universe that we're hanging out in.
It'll be changed as well. Like, I think you're going to have mutants and Fantastic Four and all that kind of stuff. So they're not going to collapse them all down in one universe, and it's only going to be quote-unquote a soft reboot after Secret Wars. It also said that Reed Richards and Doom is going to have a dynamic like Stark and Thanos in Infinity War and Endgame. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
That's even more so than Tony and Thanos does, right? Like, that's Batman and Joker. That's your main hero and your main villain against each other. So that makes a lot of sense. Also, one rumor is that Thor is actually going to run into Sylvie.
Oh.
That would be really fucking interesting.
A Loki variant. Interesting.
Yeah, and one that has a lot of attachment and feeling towards Loki.
His Loki.
Yeah, so that's like...
Also, what does she think of Thor?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because that's one of my favorite things from Infinity War and Endgame was I think they called them like the strange brew mentality, where it's like what weird characters that you never thought would see each other would have scenes together, and then how fun are those scenes?
We talked about that. Like,
it's so good.
How fun would it be if Star-Lord and Ant-Man had a conversation?
Yeah,
You know?
indeed. So that'd be really cool to see Sylvie and Thor. The next part of it, the Avengers will allegedly be co-led by Sam Wilson's Captain America and Captain Marvel. That is going to be your co-leads, like Cap and Iron Man was in the previous iterations.
Okay. Captain and Captain.
Also, the MCU would like to use Hugh Jackman's Wolverine for as long as possible.
Until you're 90.
Another rumor, of course, but we'll see. And then Ant-Man will reportedly be in these films, and Namor is to be determined.
Ooh.
So that's just a handful of rumors from one guy. I mean, like, grain of salt certainly for all of it, but it makes me just happy to just think and speculate on some of this stuff. Next up, we've got...
let me know when you're about to move out of Marvel. I have one thing.
Okay. Yeah, we still have a couple more Marvels. The next one, rumor, is Wanda is going to be a big part of the next two Avengers movies.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, she is a queen after all.
Dude, what if they did a Wanda thing? Because there's a very famous one, and you could tell the folks at home what it is, like issues-wise, because you know it. It's the one where Wanda says, "No more mutants."
Yeah, House of M.
What if they reverse it and she invents mutants?
Or explodes them.
Yeah.
Because Kamala Khan has already been called a mutant, so they wouldn't be completely creating them, but
what
it
if
would...
what if she...
That would actually be really creative.
Like if they turn it on its head, because they've done stuff like that. Like Secret Wars was... I mean, not Secret Wars.
Invasion.
Civil War.
Oh, Civil War, yeah.
Civil War wasn't about the Mutant Registration Act. It was about getting the Avengers under control with the Soviet... Soviet Accords. So they changed it a little bit on its head, but it's still basically the same
Yeah,
premise.
same idea. They mixed it up.
They mixed it up, which they could do with Wanda instead of no more mutants, and there's only like 6 left after that.
Yeah.
Like Alpha, like Wolverine survived
Yeah.
because of his healing factor and everything.
And because X-Men comics are never going to exist without Wolverine.
No, they will not. Wolverine is in everything until you're 90, kind of thing. But like, just imagine if they turned that on their head and had Wanda. That's how we get mutants.
Yeah.
And she just is like, this is not enough. We need more. And she activates the X gene.
Yeah. So part of this rumor is that Wanda is going to be a main player in both films and will share screen time with Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom.
Oh boy!
So, there is one area of the comics where Wanda was quote unquote killed, and then basically like was resurrected, but in a way that her mind was like kind of broken, and she ended up being like a love interest with Doctor Doom, but not being fully conscious of like who she is or was or whatever. So the love interest part is probably the biggest grain of salt that they might be doing the same thing, because because another scooper has come out in light of this rumor and said that there won't be a love interest. So one person saying that there may actually be a love interest for Doctor Doom, another scooper saying absolutely not, it won't be. So we're getting two different things here, and then another person though did also speculate that this also could be a Wanda from a different universe. Could be, because that's the big thing, is that the MCU has pretty overtly said that she died in Doctor Strange. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of us want to talk about the Red Flash and shit, but it's like they've said in like the official timeline thing, like
she's dead.
She died. So
I mean, even in Agatha, they're like, yeah, she's dead.
Yeah, exactly. So that should be interesting to see how it plays out. All I'm saying is kind of what Lydia said, give me all the Wanda. Indeed. Next up, rumor: Spidey is will have a big role in Doomsday, but not as big of a role in Secret Wars. Oh, okay. Which would make sense because Secret Wars is going to be pretty fucking huge. Yeah. Like, I wonder if there's going to be anyone that has that big of a role, or if it's going to be a matter of like,
or if it's like you have these ones be big in Doomsday, you have these ones be big in Secret Wars.
Could be, yeah. Allegedly, Spidey will be in both films, but it will feel more like the lead in Doomsday. Will be a little bit of a smaller part in Secret Wars. Is essentially the gist of it. So,
I did see someone poke fun at not poke fun, but brought up an interesting fact about Spider-Man. Is supposedly Deadpool in every iteration has a Peter. What if one of them is Peter Parker? Just saying, his name is Peter.
Well, I would hope that he doesn't know the identity. Spider-Man is really good about his identity.
It's true.
He's one of the only heroes, except for Civil War. That's why Civil War was such a big deal in the comics.
Oh, yeah, my wife said that. That's who it was.
Yeah. So next up, we've got more Spidey stuff. So another rumor that some Spider-Man 4 rumors.
Yeah.
So a scooper has claimed that not only will Tobey and Andrew be back for Spidey 4, but they will have extensive roles in the film, more so than the last one.
They were in like the huge climax of the last one, so they're going to be in the whole movie?
Might be.
They're going to have to be if they're going to have bigger roles.
Yeah. So Holland's Spider-Man will reportedly get us the symbiote and might well keep it for a couple Spider-Man films.
Oh.
So that would mean that it's not just like through the Avengers movies, but like, because that would be that he would have it there, the 2 Avengers movies, and then 2 more Spider-Man movies. Like that's wild.
Or is it a couple movies, meaning...
No, it said a couple Spidey movies.
A couple Spidey movies. Oh, okay.
So it's like, whoa, that means that could be like 4 or 5 movies. He'll have the symbiote.
Well, he has the symbiote in Secret Wars, doesn't he? So that's like the famous suit, the black one?
No, because that one is not symbiote related. He literally just gets another suit.
Oh.
Like, it's black. Like, it's not symbiote related.
Gotcha.
So Holland reportedly does not appear in the next Venom movie. That includes mid or post credit scenes, because there's a Venom movie coming out.
It's out now, isn't it?
There's been a lot of shenanigans about whether Sony might finally get the deal to get Holland to show up, but it sounds like no, he will not show up, and that includes your mid and post credit scenes.
Oh no, it comes out on the 24th, so it hasn't come out yet.
Also, it sounds like it might end up being less street level and more cosmic, which would make sense or not cosmic, but global. Like, it's not your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which would make sense because honestly, if you're trying to do friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and having 2 other Spider-Man in it, that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah,
like,
how much crime is there in Manhattan?
Yeah, you can't do street level and have the other 2 Spider-Men in there. a good chunk of the movie. Like that's just
No.
not going to happen. So,
Nope.
So no date has been announced, but Sony does have a date reserved on July 24th, 2026. And many speculate that is where Spider-Man 4 will end up. So,
Gotcha.
and that sounds about right. Late July, that sounds perfect for Spider-Man.
That's Spidey time.
Spidey time. Next up, we've got not a rumor, but Tom Holland has read the initial script for Spider-Man 4.
Yeah, you read it with Zendaya. I saw this.
So Holland recently revealed that he and Zendaya had read the script for Spider-Man 4 and said, quote, "It needs work, but the writers are doing a great job. I read it 3 weeks ago, and it really lit a fire in me. Zendaya and I sat down and read it together, and at times we were bouncing around the living room like this is a real movie worthy of fans' respect." So,
Nice.
I don't know. I'm very intrigued what we're
Yeah.
thinking here. Next up, Sony. A rumor that Sony killed Spider-Man being in Daredevil Born Again. Apparently the original idea was that Spidey would appear in Daredevil. So my note, fuck Sony. Fuck them at every level. Just fuck them. Marvel
just needs to buy out Spidey from them. Like, pay him like $8 billion so they can go away.
Yeah, pretty much. Marvel attempted to have Holland, Spidey, and Daredevil Born Again, and Sony vetoed it. So again, fuck Sony. And then in further fuck Sony news, a rumor is that Sony still wants to have a Sinister Six movie. So I hate to be cynical, but my note here is cool, another Sony movie I won't waste my time or money on. I don't think I've seen a single Sony movie since Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies.
I watched Venom.
I didn't watch the Venoms. I didn't watch Madam Web, like any of that stuff. I just like it's fucking Sony.
Aren't you going to go see Craven?
No. No, I'm still mad that they wouldn't let fucking them use that for Spider-Man 3 because I think that's what you should have done for Spider-Man 3 is Craven. So
What about Morbius? Don't you like that movie?
what movie? Next up, this is so we've been talking for months about Daredevil Born Again.
Right.
Vincent D'Onofrio said it's more violent than the old show.
Yep.
The head of Marvel's television wing said it's very violent, worse than anything we've ever done. Now we have Daredevil Born Again is being said to be, quote, as problematic and scary as Game of Thrones.
Shit.
So this is Marvel Studios head of streaming, television, and animation, Brad Winderbaum. My God, that's somewhat of a title, isn't it? Marvel Studios head of streaming, television, and animation. Jesus Christ, I hope he has a big business card. So, quote, imagine if New York City was an intricate and problematic and as intricate and problematic and scary as the world of Game of Thrones. All these forces vying for control, and it can really be hopeful at times and really violent at times, and dark. But also, there's light at the end of the tunnel if you could just fight for it. So,
Oh, boy.
comparing all the violence talk we've had, like that's one thing. But to now say that you're going to get into the realm of like even comparing yourself to Game of Thrones in the smallest way, like this could be a fucking dark and brutal show, man.
Oh, boy.
This could be
One of the most violent and vile things I've ever seen put to film is in Game of Thrones. So
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of heinous shit in
Yeah.
there. Next up, we've got, of course, the killing of Marjorie is one of the worst dastardly things we've ever seen.
so much.
She was amazing. Next up, rumor, Henry Cavill is in talk for a full MCU role.
Thank God.
No word on what the role might be, but I look forward to seeing him more fully in the MCU. Of course, we all know he did a cameo for the Cavalrine in Deadpool and Wolverine, but it does sound like that there's a full role for him somewhere. So I also know that he just signed on for the Voltron movie.
Yeah.
So that there is that, of course, but it reminded me of the line from Deadpool and Wolverine, though. It's like, they'll take care of you better than those jerks down the street
Down
or
the
whatever.
street, yeah.
So, and then next up in the, of course, this makes absolute sense category, Marvel wants another Deadpool movie.
Shocker.
So, and potentially another Deadpool and Wolverine sequel, or a Deadpool and Wolverine sequel versus just a straight Deadpool movie. So, that is it for Marvel. So, what you said you had something?
Yeah. Saw a interesting little video talking about Moon Knight. Something we haven't talked about a ton on this show.
Yeah, 'cause did it come out before we did this podcast?
I think so.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he's in a foreign country and running away from a castle, and someone took that castle and took a look at Doctor Doom's castle in Latveria.
Latveria.
Side by side, they look pretty fucking identical, Tad. Not similar. They look pretty fucking identical. Also, they showed a clip, it's when he's in the truck and he blacks out, and all of a sudden he's got a gun, and blood all over his hand, and the guy's gone from the
Yeah.
front seat or dead.
The ice cream truck, right?
The ice cream truck.
Yeah.
If you look behind his seat, Ted, it says Dr. D, and the rest is blocked out.
I would.
Have we been getting sprinkles of? We need to go back and rewatch stuff for the last 5 years
Well,
and see Doctor Doom stuff.
They've done that for the whole,
I know.
the entirety of the MCU.
I
or
know, and that's
small-
what I'm saying is like, we now know about Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did they have a plan for Doctor Doom all along? I know the King Dynasty was coming along, but was that just like a little Easter egg?
But
they
it
threw
sounds
in?
like they're bringing secondary villains in that are going to be replacing the Council of Kangs, meaning that Doom will be the main villain. So even in the old plan, I wonder if Doom was the main villain and Council of Kangs is a secondary villain.
Right.
So
If they use Kang to distract us,
to be honest, like the Secret Wars is Doctor Doom. So even when they announced that, I remember talking to you and speculating where it's like, that's Doctor Doom. Like even when they were talking about the Kang stuff, I'm like, are they really going to replace fucking Doctor Doom with Kang for the Secret Wars? Because they had announced Secret Wars, and it was like it just didn't make sense to me. So maybe they've the whole time knew that the next thing, because the other thing is that wasn't the whole thing that Kang was not going to be the main, like the next Thanos. It was but they loved what's his name was doing, so they extended his role out much bigger than it was. So it makes me wonder if from the day one, did they know?
Has it always been Doom?
Has it always been
And now
Doom?
we're just casting aside the fake shroud that was Kang because of the shit that happened.
And then replacing what role he would have played with some other
Smaller
secondary
roles, yeah.
people to like it. I kind of
Dude,
wonder if that's the
I'm
case.
telling
man.
you, I don't subscribe to a lot of like conspiracy theories when it comes to Marvel and stuff like that, but it's very clearly Dr. D
Yeah.
in the seat, and it's behind.
There's-
it's right behind his head in the seat, so you cannot see any of the rest of it. But
There's somewhere
Oh.
that they're showing a map that people have. Is it Black Panther 2? There's a point when there's somewhere that people were speculating that Latveria was a country they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like because it was just like, oh, some, East European. I don't remember the line or
Yeah.
whatever, but I'll have to see if I can dig it up and find it. But there was some speculation on that maybe that would be Latveria that they were talking about. So, you know what, though? It reminds me of the Endgame, Earthquakes Under the Ocean. What do you do about it? You don't do anything about it. There's a lot of us comic fans that are like, that sounds like Namor.
and three
And
movies later,
guess
or
what?
4 movies later,
Yeah. You know what I will say, too? I love that siren song thing from that Black Panther movie. When
Yeah.
Namor is pulling all the people and his people are pulling the people off the ships. That is just one of the most eerie fucking scenes, dude.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it feels like a horror. I'm getting chills. It feels like a horror movie. All right. Next up, moving out of the Marvel realm now, Christopher Nolan has set his next film with Universal. So apparently he is still not over his beef with Warner Brothers.
Oh, boy.
Because he was I don't know if he had ever done a movie outside of Warner Brothers. Certainly not since his popularity. He's
Yeah.
been with Warner Brothers until 2020 when they released their entire theatrical thing on streaming. That pissed him off, and the last number of movies he's done it with other studios, and it sounds like that's continuing. So,
All right.
it sounds like Matt Damon is in talks to star with Nolan, writing, directing, and producing. This would be the first lead for Damon in a Nolan film. He was supporting in Interstellar and Oppenheimer, and it will be in IMAX. That's no surprise. In
What?
July 17th of 2026. So,
Okay.
If that's true and the Spider-Man thing's true, that means those will be a few weeks apart.
Interesting.
Or a week apart, 17th to 24th. Yeah,
Yeah,
a week apart.
7 days.
Those will probably be different enough movies. I don't think they would really pull a lot from each other. One rumor suggests he's allegedly at one point years ago signed on to do a remake of The Prisoner, a 60s mystery and thriller. So there's a lot of thought that maybe he's circled back to that because he has a passion for it.
Okay.
And it could be that. So next up, Dogma is no longer a hostage
Yeah.
of the serial
I
rapist.
saw this.
So we'll be getting a Blu-ray release and a return to theaters. This is huge because as a physical media collector,
Yeah.
Dogma DVDs can usually go for $100 to $150. I've seen Blu-rays go as high as $200-$300. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where it's like people go to like pawn shops praying that they find a copy of Dogma somewhere, and when they do, it's like, oh my god, I found a Rembrandt at a
And
yard sale.
you're quickly like, I want to buy this.
Yeah. Although nowadays, apparently, it's a lot harder because apparently with the internet, a lot of pawn people actually look shit up online. And so a lot of times pawn people will know what they've got, which is unfortunate.
Got to go down to one of those little podunk towns
that don't have the internet yet.
Don't have the internet yet. Like where my wife grew up.
The internet, we still have,
two cans
chisels
and two cans and a string in between them.
She said the same thing.
Yeah, she did.
Oh man! So yeah, I'm excited for Dogma. I have a copy of it. On DVD, but I'll be happy to upgrade it to Blu-ray.
My wife's seen. You've seen Dogma? I don't know if we've watched that, but she says she fucking loves it.
That's a good one, buddy. Jesus, man.
Yeah.
Next up, we got a rumor that Ahsoka season 2 will be going into production in 2025.
All right.
My note on my list here said 2026, and that is not right. I think 2026 would be the release year, most likely. So that is pretty awesome. And then next up, actually that was the wrong slide. There we go. Next one, we have a Ewan McGregor saying that Lucasfilm is exploring ideas for Kenobi season 2.
Kenobi.
He's been obviously petitioning for years, for a year at least, where he's like, I want another season of Obi-Wan. Kathleen Kennedy has said, I don't know if we really have a spot for it, but he just keeps saying it every interview where he's like, Kenobi season 2, Kenobi season 2, Kenobi season 2.
You can't keep saying the name without me pushing the buttons.
That's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I mean, Tad, you said it like 8 times.
So McGregor said that he wants so he's basically saying that they are exploring ideas, but one thing it was said in this interview, McGregor said he also wants Obi-Wan to wear the Clone Wars era armor and to reunite with Hayden Christensen for some flashback scenes.
Give me some flashbacks.
If they show me him in full fucking armor, dude, the Clone Wars armor, the robe armor
you
combo,
might just melt.
You
would turn to goo.
Most likely. I just disappear. My clothes are like Jedi. They just sink into the chair.
You would never become one with the Force. What are you talking about? You're too evil.
Oh, you honor me, sir. So he says, quote, I loved more than anything getting to know Alec Guinness's work because I was playing him as a young man. Even now with the series, that's my personal challenge. If a take feels like him, I'm happy. And then he says, I really do hope we get another chance to do another one between where we ended off in the series and when Alec Guinness comes on screen with Luke Skywalker. I think there's another few stories to tell in there. So
I think what you do is you have him get hurt. Someone's taking care of him, and he's just flashing back to the Clone Wars the whole time. Just the whole fucking time.
Just give us shameless flashbacks for
five episodes. Why not?
Yeah.
Why the fuck not, dude?
Indeed. And then the last bit of news, I will say this from a couple days ago, so if anything was broken yesterday or today, it's not on my list. So, but Denis Villeneuve is making Dune 3 sooner than expected.
Wasn't it like 2027, 2028?
Well, I don't think they had even had a speculation on the date yet, but there was, after Dune 2, he was saying that he wanted to do another movie non-Dune before getting to Dune.
He wanted a few years before Dune 3.
So he previously said that after Dune 2, he wanted to take a break from the franchise and do something else, but it doesn't look like that will be the case anymore. He told Deadline recently, let's say that I thought after part 2 that I wanted to take a break, that I'd go back into the woods and stay in the woods for a while to recover, but the woods weren't really suiting me. I would go back behind the camera faster than I think, but that's all I can say.
All right.
So he went on to share some plot details, saying that the subject of war would be at the center of the adaptation, adding that Dune Part 2, in order to save his friends, Paul Atreides has to start a war. So it's called Dune Prophecies, I think is the title of it. And there's a million books of these, but it sounds like he's always seen this as a trilogy. So most likely this will be the end of it for Villeneuve. Now, whether they sign up someone else to make more after that, although I would hate to step into those shoes because Denny has done an incredible job.
Those two movies are phenomenal.
Yeah, indeed. So that is all we've got for the news. So let's get on over to the main topic.
Excellent.
So Haunting of Hill House is what I chose for this spooky season, official spooky season.
And one of the greatest things that you've ever introduced me to, spooky-wise.
Really?
Flanagan was not known to me until this. And you showed it to me years ago. Everything, and I gotta say, I'm ashamed that I still haven't watched The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Oh yeah, you got to get on that.
I watched Midnight Mass.
Yeah,
but I have not watched The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I love my horror marathon for sure. But
Yeah.
a lot of people, because the 3rd anniversary of Midnight Mass just hit, so people have been hyping it up online like crazy, and it just makes me desire it. And then like I'm like, honestly, Usher was so good. I've thought about watching that again.
Oh, the Fall of the House of Usher.
And then I'm just like, you know what? Like Bly Manor was good too. So I'm like, maybe I just need to rewatch all the Flanagan stuff. But I have this horror fest going on now, which I do love. But if it wasn't for that, man, I might be.
November's wide open, Ted.
It is.
And you usually watch Haunting of Hill House around Thanksgiving, is what you say you wanted to start doing that annually.
Yeah.
Might as well watch the Fall of House of Usher, Bly Manor, and Midnight Mass.
Yeah,
there
indeed.
you go.
Indeed.
All throughout November. There you go. There's your 3, and then just rewatch Haunting of Hill House around Thanksgiving again.
Maybe throw Doctor Sleep in there, just
throw some Doctor Sleep
for
there you go.
posterity.
There you go.
I did watch Hush this
You sure did.
a week or so ago. That was a lot of fun. That had interestingly, that one, I think when the credits rolled, there was 5 people in that movie.
Is that it? Mm-hmm. I love movies like that.
Because at one point, like the cops even roll up on the scene, but it's shot in a way that you don't actually see any people. So like when the credits rolled, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that is 5 people.
Yeah, because it's just like the cop cars are
the
pulling
cop cars
up.
pull up, but it's like you don't have to get an actor because like cops don't get out and
It's
start
just-
saying
yeah.
anything. So it's like the end of the movie. So yeah, it's good stuff. But you had she's not in this one, but Bev from Midnight Mass was one of the characters in that. And of course Kate Siegel is the main. in
Bev's
Hush.
in Haunting of Hill House, isn't she?
No, I don't think so.
Isn't she?
I don't remember where she'd be at.
Isn't she Theodora? Kate Siegel?
No, not her. I'm talking Bev, the Carmody lady.
Right.
Is Bev.
Right. Oh, sorry. I thought I thought her name in Midnight Mass was Beverly. I'm sorry.
No, although there was a really cool reference to Midnight Mass in Hush because
Aaron Green is who I'm thinking of as the character. Yeah.
So who's the main dude on Midnight Mass?
Oh, let me.
You just had it up, Aaron, and because in Midnight in Hush, Riley. So in Midnight Mass or in Hush, Kate Siegel's character is an author and she's deaf, and she wrote Midnight Mass. And she gave it to the lady that played Bev, and she's like giving it back to her, and she's like, "Oh, you can keep it and stuff. What did you think?" And she's like, "Oh, I loved it so much. The ending was great." She's like, "I really loved Aaron and Riley." Like,
yeah.
And it was just like, so it's like, dude, Flanagan, how long were you planning this?
Yeah, because Hush came out what year?
2012, 13, or maybe not that far back. It's definitely a ways back though.
2016.
16. Okay.
And then Midnight Mass came out in like
2021.
2021.
Yeah. So, but yeah, of course, Flanagan is adjacent to Hill House, but I do believe that Hill House is so far his magnum opus. I think it's the best thing that he's done, and that's not to say that other shit he's done is not absolutely fucking incredible, but I have been saying this from the mountaintops. I mean, it's certainly now that I'm filling in some gaps, but I've been saying for years that this is the best horror work of the century.
Yeah.
And that's a tough thing to say when you got things like Hereditary, and there's a lot of good fucking horror, man. We horror fans are eating good.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, and it is also convenient that I don't have to say movie. I could just say it's one of the greatest horror things that makes it more broad.
You got to put this against like The Conjuring.
Yeah.
Which was my number 1 for top 10 movies from horror movies from 2000 on
21st century.
Yeah, 21st century. So like,
but I put this because it's just, I mean, I get it. Flanagan's able to play with 10 hours here. It's almost unfair to compare it to a 2-hour movie or a 90-minute movie because most horror movies aren't more than 90 minutes.
Exactly.
But this just has heart to it that is just beyond what. I mean, you care about these characters, and like that's one of the themes I've been finding is some of the best horror movies are ones you really care about the characters.
There was a movie you were telling me about. I don't remember which one it was, where you're like, I didn't give a shit about the good guys, like the good guys that were getting killed.
Don't Breathe.
Oh, it is Don't Breathe. Yeah, you're like, they're kind of assholes. So like, why would I feel sympathy or empathy for them? I'm rooting for the killer.
Yeah.
I mean, you root for the killer anyways.
Usually.
But usually you're rooting against good people, like Laurie Strode in Halloween.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
I don't know if I ever root against Laurie.
You've rooted for Michael. Don't give me that shit.
Against Laurie?
Against Laurie?
I don't know, man.
Really?
She's a queen.
She is a queen.
She is a queen.
So.
But yeah. This, though, like, it has all that heart. I mean, you get to really know these characters, both as children and adults, or as younger and older if you're talking about the dad. And so you get all that, but also scare-wise, some of the scares in this are
leaps and bounds.
Some
of the
scariest shit of this 21st
the
century.
dumbwaiter scene.
Oh my god, yeah,
we were talking about that the other day when we went and got lunch. I'm like, oh my god, dude, I forgot that scene.
Yeah. Oh, not me, man.
Like I knew it happened.
Yeah.
I forgot what really happened in that scene. Because the thing I got to say about Midnight Mass, the Haunting of Hill House, sorry, before we get too far into this, is that Tad had me watch this pretty soon after it came out. I think I may have gone a year before watching it when it first came out, 2018. Like, I watched it pretty soon after. You turned me on to it. And then I didn't watch anything else from him until... Oh, no,
Dr. Sleep.
I think I watched Dr. Sleep, and then that led me to watching this, is the reason why. Is because I was like, dude, Dr. Sleep was so good. You're like, dude, it's Mike Flanagan. I've been telling you got to go watch The Haunting of Hill House. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. 10 hours of that? That's too much. But I remember watching it. I just remember being blown away by it. But I haven't watched it since. So that gives you 5 years that I haven't watched this, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's kind of faded away. I remember a lot of the premise. Dude, I didn't remember the hook at the end. Like, with the dad. I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
You know? I remembered the Betneck. I didn't even remember the Betneck lady. I didn't remember especially the twist with the Betneck lady.
Really? Oh, man.
No, completely forgot that, dude.
I mean, I'll give you credit because it has. If you've only seen it once, and it was 5 years ago or whatever. That's yeah. I could see that, but man,
I remember the kittens and what happened with them. That was terrifying. That traumatized me because I love animals. So just like poor Shirley with that, you know.
Yeah. Oh, Flanagan did have the killer in Hush pointing a crossbow at a cat, but Kate Siegel is able to stop, hit the guy, and throw the shot astray.
Good girl.
But I was like, Flanagan, I've defended you with your cat hatred that people accuse you of, and here you're.
Come on, dude. Like, it's blatant, man.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
But I will say that one of the best jump scares I've ever seen in horror
is
in this.
Go on. Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
No, the car.
Yeah, it's up there. There's
man.
There's an one from Exorcist 3 that is potentially one of the greatest jump scares of all time. But
I will say Nell coming out and screaming when
in the car
Theo and Cheryl are arguing.
Yeah. It's pretty great. And then she did it early. Flanagan had her go like 5 seconds earlier than they were counting on, so that was genuine.
It was
scared the shit out of the actors. So
that is one of the greatest. But like you said, I did want to remark on this. I took 2 notes the entire time. The rest of it is just going to be me reacting and pulling stuff from my brain, like I usually do. And I like doing that.
Yeah.
The 2 notes that I have is 1. I care way more about these characters than I do any time in any horror movie I've ever watched.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at earlier.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason is the time, and you're able to see them at different points of their life, so it really gives you almost a fuller picture of who they are. And I'm not going to hold that against movies because they got 90 minutes.
Right.
But truthfully, that's one of the beauties of the show, though, is you genuinely love these characters, even with some of their imperfections, right?
Especially because we get to see each one of the kids gets their own episode.
Yes, exactly.
The fact that we get an episode for Steve, the fact that we get an episode for Luke and Nell and Theo and Shirley.
Yeah.
All of them have their own episodes. All of them have their own things.
Yeah.
And every single one of them I care about on a different level. Now, I may like some more than others.
Yeah.
And that's my second note is which one is my favorite and why.
Yeah, I was going to ask you favorites and least or not.
And everything.
I hate saying least favorite because I think even when some annoy you at times, like I don't hate any of them. There's sometimes I get annoyed by almost all of them, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one of them that I'm like across the board going, I love them across the board.
No, 100%.
Maybe the dad. I think the dad's probably the only one that I don't have an issue with because I think he's pretty level-headed and consistent throughout. The mom obviously is getting fucked up by the house, so she gets to the realm where you're whatever.
She gets that pass.
And all the kids, whether as a kid or adult, there's parts of them that are like, which is so realistic, right? Because no human is like wholly good.
No one's perfect.
Except, I mean, I'm pretty lovable.
Stop it.
I'm pretty lovable.
No.
But no, so it's just it makes it so realistic, and because Flanagan had those hours to play with, he's able to show you like the best and worst of each of these characters.
Absolutely.
And I think that's almost makes them more relatable because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they're human. Like it's not just Laurie Strode that's just this eminent innocent girl that's being attacked by this killer and like what, like, you know, she's the one that she wants to go home and do homework and she wants to like they make her the good girl.
She doesn't want to go on the date because she's too embarrassed.
Yeah, like, and I love Laurie and I love Halloween, but it's like you're not playing with 10 hours to really see Laurie's different areas, right?
We see Laurie who cheated on a test.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I think later sequels allowed them to explore mostly like how the trauma made her maybe a less of a good person, which made her more interesting. But it's like in the first Halloween, it's hard to compare against this 10-hour masterpiece.
Absolutely. So. And that's where it's coming down that this is a different beast.
Yeah.
Than a normal horror movie, a 90-minute horror movie, like you said. So, but yeah, I do have. Oh, hey, Haydo.
Yeah, Haydo Potato.
Yeah.
Look at that. Talking horror movies and Hayden pops up. Or horror shows.
Flanagan creates this ethos of human emotion and real understandable character situations in a way King does too. And I think that's why there's so much of Mike doing great service to King's work. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what Hayden said in the chat. Absolutely. That's a great way of putting it, is that he not only builds the characters, but he builds the characters so that they feel real.
Yeah.
Like, I love that about these characters because, like, there's things that some of these characters do that I'm like, 100% that's what I would do.
Yeah.
And so many times in horror movies, it's like, you idiot, why are you running up the stairs? Go out the front door. You know, like, you get mad at them because they're not doing what you want. In this series, they're doing things that it's like, that is exactly what I would have done in that situation.
Yeah.
100%. Now, there are times where it's like...
the way the housing market is, I can totally see why you'd be buying a haunted house.
I'm watching this show, and I wanted to talk to my wife during one of the episodes.
Tell me you wouldn't move in a haunted house right now. Somebody's like, hey, $250,000 for this fucking mansion. You telling
it's haunted?
I mean, they're not going to tell you that up front, but why are they offering you a fucking mansion for $250,000?
No, Tad, I've seen this movie. I would not.
You wouldn't do it?
No,
oh my god!
Not.
Oh my god!
Absolutely not. When I tried,
Lydia says, "Just give me a house," so she might be willing to move into the haunted
god,
house.
she might be willing. As long as I'm not the one that goes crazy.
Well, there is no TV and no beer, so.
Hayden says Peter tried to outbid Spirit Halloween in a abandoned house. Spirit Christmas too. Now that's coming.
That's so stupid, man. Because every store on the planet overdoes it with Christmas shit. Halloween before Spirit, like you couldn't buy Halloween stuff at a lot of places.
Yeah.
So they were filling a hole in the market. Whereas with like Christmas, I'm like, dude, I can't go swing a freaking cat by a tail without hitting 10 stores that are selling me Christmas
with you
shit.
And Flanagan and cats, man. Like, come on, ease up. I will say that I did not know this. Apparently, this is something they're bringing back. They've had this before.
That's nonsense.
All right, so you want to...
Nobody wants to decorate their house for Christmas. It's all about decorating for Halloween.
You want to get down to which one is your favorite, or you want to save that for later?
Let's see. So we're talking kids here, like not the dad or mom or
yeah, of course the 5
not
kids,
not the husband of like what's her name. Like I like him a lot.
Yeah. Shit. He turns into
Shirley.
a waiter. That's his coping mechanism.
Yeah, Shirley's husband. I like him a lot.
Kenneth? Keith? I think it's Keith.
Kevin.
I
was gonna say Keith.
I knew it was a K name.
Also, I always, or I didn't realize, but in the course of the last year or so, I read The Dark Half by Stephen King, and then I watched the film adaptation. And the film adaptation, Timothy Hutton, which plays old Hugo Crane, is Thad Beaumont and George Stark in the Dark Half movie. So I'm 20-something years younger, but it is the same actor, so that's kind of cool. Oh man, Kate Siegel's a queen, so it's really hard for me to like get past that. I do like Theo a lot. I think Luke might be my favorite. I mean, I know he's like kind of like problematic as an adult, but it's like you know why. Right?
Yeah.
Like as you watch it, it's like
dude, that
it
kid
makes
got
total.
So much. He got so much worse.
He got
than
the worst
anyone else.
of all of them. Yeah, without even question.
I mean, the mom maybe got worse.
Yeah, but kid wise,
we're talking kids here. Luke got the worst. The freaking stuff that happened in the cellar.
Yeah, the dumbwaiter thing, like one of the scariest things I've ever seen on screen, man. And
that's not just a ghost looking at you; that's a ghost putting hands on you.
Yeah, and coming at you, like, and then like from his perspective, like his sister was trying to send him down. He thinks that she's not bringing about. Like, there's just like the betrayal aspect, like this, just everything about that. But I mean,
I love that Theo comes and apologizes to him later and explains, like I really did not mean to do that to you, bro.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing that I would hate, that I hate in movies and TV shows that they do, is that something like that happens, and then the sibling is always just like, I can't believe you're mad at me, and like just like gets mad themselves.
Yeah.
Theo, that's one of the examples. That's exactly how I would have been with one of my sisters.
Yeah.
Is that, no, dude, like, I'm sorry. That's not what I meant to happen. Like, and I would try and explain myself because that's how I am.
Yeah.
So to see that in a character was so refreshing, instead of just no one listens to me, and she goes running out of the room.
Yeah. Oh, man, you know what? I think I forget about Nell a lot just because of how little she's overall in it. Mm-hmm. But I really love her, man. She is just a peach, and she's just like probably the most wholesome of the group. So and all the way through, I feel like she doesn't really have a turn. Mm-hmm. Like, I think of the kids, I think she's probably the least with negative sides.
She does have that one scene with Theo where she tries to use her that really kind of irks me as an adult. She's having Theo go around and feel like where her husband.
Yeah.
That's kind of fucked up, dude.
Yeah, but that's in a pretty deep trauma there.
I mean, it's pretty deep trauma, but still, you have to recognize that's your fucking sister, man.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine putting your brother through something like that?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it's pretty fucked up of her to do that.
Yeah.
So,
what about you? What's your
I mean, you haven't said your favorite yet still. I mean, you said Luke and Nell. I mean, are you saying the twins?
I just think it's because Nell I overlook because of I almost feel like she doesn't have as much time on screen as the other kids for obvious reasons.
Right.
I mean, if I could cheat and say the twins, there's something about the two characters, because I think like Luke is the most damaged, and I think he's almost the most interesting of all the characters.
Yeah.
Because of the damage. Like, I do think that Steven's really interesting too, because like he's completely in denial, writes the book, like just so much about him that's really awesome. And then like when he finally gets it thrown on his head, one of my favorite scenes of the show is when his dad's like, "You've seen plenty," and he starts listing page and paragraph.
Yeah, he like tells him like,
he's like, there was no clockmaker.
I never had someone in to repair that clock.
Yeah, I'm getting chills because it's just like the way Flanagan set that up. It's like you just think it's a normal work, because there's workers in and out of the house all the time. So,
but specifically that scene is specifically they show 18 people before they show the clock guy.
Yeah,
and I will say that when I saw that scene again, remember it's been 5 years in between.
Yeah,
when I saw that, I'm like, there's something with that guy. I don't remember what, but there's something with that guy.
And
that's not right.
And he looks out of place because of his old-timey clothes, mustache is like waxed up.
His glasses look old and everything.
Yeah, but so like, I don't know. I guess Luke or Steven is probably the next most interesting to me because he has like that high and mighty thing, and then he kind of gets the rug pulled out from. I guess the same thing happens to Shirley, because she kind of has like her high and mighty level that kind of gets the rug pulled out too. So I guess those two kind of share that happening. But I think with him, I like the writer. He's going and visiting the lady's house, and like, oh, my husband is like haunting me, and I'm getting water on me, and whatever. But I do.
And her husband died in a storm.
Yeah, I do. And Lydia said Theo
is her favorite, both young and adult and child.
I think the problem for me is Kate Siegel might be swaying me here on.
Yeah.
But I do really love her because she's kind of got that no nonsense attitude. Honestly, I do love all of them. It's just a matter of like picking a favorite. I know how
Tad, now you know how parents feel.
As I'll say, it's a lot easier for parents. Like, just pick your favorite kid. That's easy.
See, now you know how parents feel. It's like, I can't pick a favorite. That's why me and my wife only had one. We're like, what? We don't have to have that discussion.
Yeah, I think that Luke is probably my favorite.
Yeah,
because it just and I mean
edges out Nell just a little bit.
And I think that also like you get so much good horror from Luke when he's a kid too, and as an adult. I mean, there's some fucking scary ass scenes with him as an adult, man.
Poor Abigail.
Oh my god,
Luke,
dude!
Like, oh my god,
dude. That was one question I had jotted down was, and I know we're on another topic right now, but we got to talk about it. Is favorite twist, because there is multiple twists in this show, man. Because you've got
my favorite twist.
You got to know. You got Steven finding out that he had seen a number of ghosts.
Yeah.
You've got the dad is
talking to his
talking to the wife. Yeah, because you think he's just muttering to himself until they finally reveal that. And then the Abigail.
My favorite one is that Nell's the Bentneck lady.
Nell with the bet.
That is turned the whole show on its head.
Lydia said too, and and it's just suddenly it makes sense because the Bentneck lady was always going after Nell, not going after her, but she's watching her. Right? It's like I'm looking back on myself. Like you're now on the astral plane. You don't have.
It's so creepy because I literally talked to my wife the other day before I started my rewatch about how I read a creepy thing saying like there's people who theorize that when you think you catch something out of the corner of your eye, like movement, and you look and you're in a completely empty room, like you're here in your office, right?
Yeah.
You're working on your computer and you think you see something over here.
Oh, it's Gerald.
You think
he lives here with me.
A lot of people are like, oh, it's a ghost. There's people who theorize that's you looking back on your life as you're dying because you see your life. And so to have Nell kind of
like Scrooge
do that, kind of like you're like.
Or is it Scrooge?
You see your life flashes before your eyes. That's the phrase. That's what you're seeing out of the corner of your eyes because you're hyper focused on something else, and then you catch that glimpse, and it's like, what was that?
Yeah,
it was you flashing in to see that moment in your life.
I always assume it's Sam Fisher.
Yeah.
And then Hayden said Tad would put anyone through it. Talking about earlier.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I am an older brother, so I may have actually pushed the down button.
Oh,
not knowing there was a demon down there for Christ's sake, but
when he starts screaming, you would just chuckle to yourself.
No, I'd chuckle, count to 10, and then push the up button.
Again, #Tad is terrible.
Oh man, I really can't wait is to be in the same room with Hayden watching that. I know he's seen it before, but to watch that dumbwaiter scene.
Dude, that might be something that you could do.
That's a terrifying scene, man. Like that one gets to me. That scene when I watch it is just like, dude, that's
I was telling you or my wife, I can't remember which one it was. I forgot how fast that scene happens.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was like slow and creepy zombie. Dude, that thing comes out and comes for him fast.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, lunch. Oh, lunch.
So who do you got?
Oh, my
Hayden just said he peed 2 squirts.
I will say my absolute
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
We talked about the twists. The fucking red room.
Oh, right. That they've all been in there all along with different rooms.
And it's funny because when you go back and rewatch it,
you're like, duh, yeah.
It's like, oh, he's up in the game room. Or no, she's like, I'm going to go up to my mom.
My reading room.
Reading room. What? And throughout
mom's reading room.
Yeah, throughout the show, there's a couple things like where you see people.
I found it in the game room.
You see
and
people
Mrs. Dudley's like,
see people give looks to her. It's like, dude, all those. I'm getting chills. All those fucking hints are throughout the whole goddamn show. Sorry to interrupt you, but I was like, I knew there was another fucking twist, and I was like, forgetting. And then you guys said the bet. That's probably why I was forgetting. And then it just dawned on me. No, it's the fucking red room, dude.
My wife just said, dude, that was so crazy. Absolutely.
My God,
absolutely. Man. Every single one of
and then
Luke's treehouse.
Then it plays on itself.
He's like, there is no treehouse.
Yeah.
I never built.
Yeah, we're only there for 8 months. So why the hell would
8 weeks. I'm flipping a house. I'm not building a goddamn treehouse. He's like a little pissed at Steve for like, dude.
And then Theo, when she's in there, is the other side of the 2 kids that are out.
Shirley
in that earlier scene,
Nell.
When you see like the thing walk in front of the door.
Yeah,
and then they leave.
I saw it move, and they leave, and you see the shadow move.
And then later you see the other side of it when she's in the dance studio. And it's so fucking cool, man.
God,
absolute masterpiece, man.
Absolutely.
I know we're just marveling at this show, but my God, man,
there's a reason.
It's so fucking good, man. Indeed. But sorry, now your favorite. Now that I've interrupted you a few times,
I love Luke. I love the underdog story. He's not going to get clean. Steve harassing him and being like.
Treating him like absolute shit.
Shit. I mean,
kind of like Theo gets it from Shirley. Like it's Shirley and
Steve.
Steve, they're like twins.
Yeah,
they're not twins, but it's like they're very similar to each other.
And the thing is like Shirley also shits on Luke too.
Yeah, but
not nearly as much as Steve does. But Steve, and the thing is,
but I feel for them.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here because. We have to remember that Luke's been an addict for a long time.
And addicts use
through
people.
a lot of shit. We were talking about this on our other show with like junkies and stuff.
Yeah.
This is not one of the shows that opened my eyes to how bad heroin is.
Yeah.
But this is a perfect example to show you how bad heroin is.
Yeah, and junkies will use people.
They use people all the time.
And manipulate people. I mean, just so yeah, indeed.
So seeing everything that Luke goes through, seeing the tall man floating behind him is so good and everything.
Cool. And
but I'm looking at it.
That scene under the bed
Oh God!
when he floats in
to get his
the hat
back.
and then looks like comes down, grabs the bed, and pulls it up.
He's trying to hold his breath, and then
Yeah.
turns around slowly.
And Julian Hillard is so fucking good.
Oh yeah,
young Luke.
Yeah.
He is so
I
goddamn.
love how his glasses. Fuck! I love his glasses. How he's always like looking. I'm trying not to go away from my hair. Like always looking up because his glasses are down on the end of his nose. It's so freaking.
Yeah,
cute.
he had the very similar.
So adorable.
He had very similar glasses in The Color of Space. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
like, does he really wear glasses? Because it was literally almost. I would have thought they were the same glasses as Hill House, so it threw me off. But okay, so you were giving your preamble saying Luke, but I have a feeling that's not your choice.
It's not.
And the dad doesn't count, right? Because I
No,
think
we're doing kids.
Okay, I think the dad would probably be my favorite character of the whole show because he's incredible.
I love the mom. But anyways, Theo is my favorite. Now, maybe there's something because she's the middle child, so there's a little bit there.
And you're
where
a middle child.
I am a middle child of 3. She's a middle child of 5 and everything. But I will say that the scene that kind of seals it for Theo happens actually not in her episode. It's in Luke's episode, I think, when he's looking at the dumbwaiter. So maybe it is her episode, because he's like looking at the dumbwaiter, and Miss Dudley comes in and like grabs him and is like all pissed off with him, and Theo walks in and she's like, "Let go of my brother," and she's just like, "Oh, she's so cold," and just like, "You just had to talk to him."
Yeah.
Like, why are you acting this way? And then her and Luke are walking out, and the line she drops there on Mrs. Dudley is so fucking good. And she's like, Luke goes, "Why was she so mean?" And she goes, "Because she's scared." And the look on Mrs. Dudley's face that Theo recognized why this adult is acting that way.
Yeah.
Like, I love that scene.
Yeah.
Because it just shows it. But then also, like you said, like the no bullshit. Like her just being like, Shirley's all bent out of shape about the book that Steve's writing and everything. And Theo's like, the fuck does it matter?
Yeah. Yeah. The kid, though, therapy, that she's doing the therapy.
Oh, Dr. Smile, the Mr. Smile. Oh.
Yeah, that's brutal, man.
Oh.
That's brutal. I mean, it ends well, right? She catches him and stuff, so.
It ends okay, not well.
Well,
like,
it ends well in terms of he gets arrested and stuff.
Yes,
like
he's going to prison, but still, that poor kid.
Oh, yeah, but it's just like.
My God.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Theo is really hard to choose against for sure. But for me, I would hedge it up for Luke because I do think Luke's probably one of the most interesting of the kids.
Yeah.
They're all interesting in their own way, but I think Luke is the most multi-layered. And I think that why I'd probably give it to him is because like toward the end, like obviously he's in the most peril toward the end, and I think I'm just more worried about him.
Oh yeah.
So
well, also it's like it's got to be such a heartbreak because like this is the thing I've talked about this before I think on this show. The biggest thing, and I think I kind of absorbed this from my wife through 13 years being together, is that it's not necessarily that someone died, a character died. It's when someone reacts to that character dying.
Yeah.
Oh no, this dog died. The owner of the dog, Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
That hurts worse for me.
Yeah.
So Luke's pain to Nell's suicide.
Yeah.
Is what really hurts me. So that's why I bond
Yeah.
with Luke and everything like that. And everything. I got to catch us up on the chat. My wife says about the tall dude. Oh, when that dude comes and stands right in front of Steve when they go back to the house as adults is so spooky.
Yeah.
And Hayden says, I still think the car scene is the scariest bit for me. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
100% agree. I was saying earlier, Haydo, before you showed up, that's the scariest thing I've ever seen in horror. That's the best jump scare
And
I've
easily
ever seen.
best jump scare.
Easily best jump scare, yeah.
I think at some point we should watch The Exorcist 3.
I know what jump scare you're talking about.
But you
I've
got to
seen
see it in the context of the movie, though.
My wife says I about cried. Oh my God, that scene hurts. Talking about Mr. Smile with Theo.
And that's a creepy thing too.
Oh,
like
that it's on the wood.
The wood, yeah.
Mm.
It just looks
the grain
evil.
of the wood. Yeah,
yeah. It just looks like a monster.
And my wife says, "Yep, that gets me every time." He says, "No, all capital." But yeah, that's what gets me and my wife is when people react, and so Luke's pain throughout is just, and then the anger. When the anger comes, I feel his anger too. It's just like,
yeah,
Oh, and then he gets back to the house, and I got to say, that is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen. You're dumping out gasoline. It's gasoline. This is one of the most flammable things I've ever personally touched.
Yeah.
And I've lit gasoline on fire. Like, I know what it's like.
It's Boy Scout camp juice or
It's
fire juice.
lighter fluid.
Yeah.
It's Boy Scout lighter fluid.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, like, oh, the fire's not big enough. There we go. You know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I've seen enough accidents with that where I'm like, I'm glad it never happened. Where it like travels back up the can.
Oh no, yeah, that's where you're fucked.
Yeah, because like you see those videos all the time. I'm like, dude, how many times have I done that in my life?
I know.
I've dumped it on there. I'm like, I'm so glad that never happened to me.
I know.
Good God.
But he pours out the gasoline. He walks back to the front door. He pulls out the lighter. He looks and he throws it down and goes, whoosh, and goes out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then the jump scare of the poppy being behind him and grabbing his face.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, dude. Yeah, so much spooky shit with Luke, for sure. But
How about Poppy though?
yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to think of what my favorite ghoul is. I mean
the basement one comes to mind.
yeah, that creature,
The zombie.
Yeah,
Almost.
I
I don't know if I think Hayden's no is going to get repeated for that.
I do like the hat guy
The hat guy, the floating
floating off because there's something creepy.
He's just looking for his hat.
There's something creepy about the floating that I think that there's something that adds that to it. If
Yeah.
he was just walking, I don't think he's nearly as effective.
But floating
it's like
and using the
But he's
cane,
like what, probably 6'8", and then he's floating above the ground on top of that.
he
so it
looks
just-
like he's like 9 feet tall.
yeah, he just looks. I mean,
he's like ducking
but
through
but
doorways.
then also you're looking at it from Luke's perspective, right?
Yeah, and Luke's
he's
tiny.
fucking tiny. So it's like, yeah, he would be like a fucking 15-foot.
But he like bends down into Steve's face.
Yeah.
And Steve's, like 5'10", 5'11", maybe 6 foot.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Do you think something happens if Steve looks at him right in that scene my wife talked about? Where they go back to the house and Steve and the dad are like, the dad's like, look at me. And he floats past, comes around, and gets down right in his face. And he's looking at his dad. Do you think something happens if he looks at him?
I think didn't I send that in the chat in our group?
Oh, you might have.
Because when I was watching it, I think I paused it and took a screen and
Yeah.
a picture of the screen and then sent it to you guys because it's just
Yeah.
freaky as fuck, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if him looking would cause anything, but I don't know.
Madness, maybe?
But see, also, good guy with the dad. He is such a good dude.
Oh,
'Cause
right.
how long did he just let Steve? I mean, I wouldn't say letting him embarrass himself, but it's just like he just let him live his reality, I guess, before finally and it's like he only revealed to him the truth when it's like
Because they have to go
We're
back.
going back to that fucking house. You need to know. Like you were in the most danger. So I don't know. It's just he's just a good dude. And then keeping the house up for the Dudleys.
Yeah.
Right. That's the only reason he doesn't tear it to the fucking ground.
And burn it.
Yeah. It's like
Salt the earth.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, because again, the Abigail thing, man. Oh my God, dude.
Oh.
That is an absolute fucking stab to the heart, man.
Oh.
Because you think the whole time it's a ghost. I mean, you've been seeing all these creatures and ghouls and ghosts.
So you see her on the edge of the forest. You're like, oh, it's just another ghost. That's what
Yeah.
you're seeing.
Yeah.
This one's just a kid, so it's not as terrifying. I mean, it's terrifying that he's seeing a ghost.
Yeah.
But then she walks into the room and she's sleeping in Luke's bed. It's like,
She's real, yeah. And then all the setup, the Dudleys talk about having a kid.
and then it passed away.
Like
and
they're-
stillborn.
Well, no, they talk about having her.
Oh, yeah.
I homeschool my kid. Of course I do. I'm not going to let my kid go out into the world. The world has teeth.
Yeah.
There's all this stuff about, so it's cool. They establish all this stuff to where it's you have every reason to know that Abigail's probably their fucking daughter.
Yeah.
She's also wearing older clothing, but the Dudleys kind of do. So it's
and that's where there's a scene where Luke asks Theo if Abigail can have some of
her clothes.
her clothes, and that's when the mom's having one of her color storms.
yeah.
So, oh gosh, dude,
I just realized you're right. Bev is in this.
Is she really?
She's Lee Crane. That's Steve's wife.
oh my God, she is.
I just looked down on the cast list and saw her. I was like, oh my God, it is her.
Yeah.
Completely spaced it. Yeah, that's his wife.
I will say her little speech to Steve in that last episode, where she's pregnant. She's like, "Oh, I just want all the fries," and then he's like, "Wait, I have no memory of getting home." And she's like, "Yeah," and that
Oh
whole,
my God, dude.
that whole speech while she's pregnant and everything like that. Oh, I'm getting chills just thinking about that scene.
Yeah. Oh my god, good stuff, man. Favorite episode?
I love Theo, but I got to go with Luke's.
Okay, I'm going with Two Storms.
That's a great episode. Yeah.
I mean, and it's funny because I heard a story on that too, where it's like that was a big part of the pitch and stuff. But then as they got closer to production, Flanagan started to back off on it, and Netflix is like, hey, what's up with the scripts? It seems like what we talked about for that episode you cut. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, you know how expensive that would be. He's like, I figured you guys wanted me to do this cost effective and stuff. They're like, it's one of the only reasons we greenlit this for you is because we want to see that. So, I mean, not only because I'm sure the rest of it was fine, but it's just like he was like trying to be like a good, responsible filmmaker and like, save a little bit of money. And then they're like, no, that's a big reason that this is the show's.
Yeah, the episode's called The Twin Thing with Luke. That episode really kind of like jars you. One, we get the basement ghost, which I think is still the creepiest scene.
Yeah.
We have the jump scare with Nell that I think is the best jump scare, but the creepiest thing I think in the whole series
is
that dumbwaiter scene where he goes down to the what is it, a bootlegger cellar or something like that?
Yeah.
Like a hidden one.
Yeah.
And everything. That is the scariest scene for me. And so I think that with Luke, and then you got his whole addiction thing.
Yeah.
Story, kind of seeing like, okay, you said it earlier, I get why he's addicted.
Yeah.
I like the Two Storms. That was a really good. I mean, there's not a bad episode.
No, there isn't.
There's not an episode where I'm like, oh, can I get through this?
I mean, even the finale is really good.
Oh, it's so good.
Because every time I rewatch it, I always feel like the Abigail stuff happens earlier. Not that it happens like early in the show, but and then also I always forget it's 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So as I'm like cruising up to like episodes 6 and 7 and shit, I'm like, this is
wrapping up.
Like this is gonna wrap soon. Like what the fuck's going on? Like what? Where's the Abigail stuff? And like, and then like it hits 8, and I'm like, that's not the final. I'm like, and then I look, I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking 10 episodes. Yeah. I don't know why it's just stuck in my head 8, but it's stuck in my head. But the finale with the Abigail stuff, like the reveal of the mom,
the Red Room reveal,
I mean,
the Steve reveal, all of that stuff comes in the last episode.
I think
the mom episode 9 is that Two Storms? Which one's Two Storms? Is that 8 or 9?
The continuous shot.
No, I know. Is that?
I don't remember the number. I think it's 7. Because isn't it? There's one for each of the 5 kids, and then isn't there a dad episode?
The dad's episode's the last one.
And
the mom. Yeah, 9 is Screaming Mimi's. That's the mom episode.
Yeah. I think it's episode 7 is the Two Storms, because I think it's the dad. It's the 5 kids.
6 is Two Storms. 7 is Eulogy.
Okay.
I'm looking at the episode list.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I could have pulled it up too, but yeah, I for me it would be a tough pick, but I think that Two Storms is probably my favorite.
Isn't it fascinating how Cheryl becomes a mortician off of the kittens?
Yeah.
That's ingenious to me.
Yeah.
How that happens. Screaming Mimi's is a really good episode too.
Yeah.
Like that. Oof.
Hayden does say the one with the continuous shot is one of the best pieces of film story. And a great homage to Hitchcock. Yeah, and for me, that's probably why I'd pick Two Storms. Is just that.
Is that where he goes upstairs and it follows him? Is that what you're talking about?
It's like 17 or 20-something minutes, and it crosses over from adults to kids, and it's the funeral home to the house, and like
the dad walks down to the bathroom,
and
it comes back into the house.
Turns around into the house, and I mean, there's one point when like the camera moves and it's the adults, and when it comes back, they're all the kids. Like it's so fucking intricate. Like it's like the True Detective.
That shot is so good.
And like I think this one is almost maybe better because it's just how involved it is. But it's just like, and I'm not one that like gets overly gaga about technical stuff like that. But that one is just like the story element of it is great. But I do think the finale would be a temptation for me for sure. But let's see. Lydia says, I think Nell's episode is my favorite. So I'm trying to think. So 6 is Two Storms. So it's 5 kids and Two Storms. And then the mom and dad after the
Screaming Mimi's is the mom.
Yeah,
absolutely is the mom.
And the dad, I guess, is the finale.
I think the dad because it's the reveal of everything with him and
because he knows most of the story as you get to the older part. Now, are you surprised that they changed the actor for the dad
from
old to young? Because it just feels like with an adult you could just age him a bit. and use the same actor.
Yeah.
So I love it because what's his name?
Henry-
Timothy Hutton.
Oh, yeah.
is absolutely fucking incredible.
I thought you were going to say Thomas.
Yeah, Henry Thomas is amazing, but
Yeah.
it's like there was part of me that was like, well, maybe they should just use Henry Thomas and just use some makeup to age him up a little bit. But it's
I
like
think-
Timothy Hutton does such a good job that I'm like, I don't want to lose him.
I think that's the reason why we maybe got two different ones is because I feel like you would get too much of young dad or too much of old dad. He's going to pick one and focus on
It wouldn't
one.
be distinct.
Yes.
With the kids and adults, it's always distinct because it's a kid or an adult.
It's two
and
different
for,
actors.
For the
so I
dad to
think
be two
that-
different actors.
I think that's why it works so well is because if you got an adult, the adult's going to focus on either the young Hugh or the old Hugh. He's not
Yeah.
going to be able to do both. And so I think that's why it was such a great idea by Flanagan to do two different.
It's true, yeah. I think I just love Henry Thomas so much that at first I was kind of like thrown off where I'm like, why didn't you just use the same?
He's so off-putting a little bit sometimes in the first few episodes for me because I'm just like, this guy can't be this good. Like, there has to be something bad with him again. Like, no one is this good, but he is. He's always so good.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Screaming Mimi's might be my second. No, you know what? Two Storms is my second favorite. Screaming Mimi's is probably my third. Oh, but the last episode, Silence Lay Steady, is really good. But Screaming Mimi's, dude, that episode hits so hard for me. Because
Yeah.
you get to see, like, all the things with the mom we've seen
That
before.
you've seen the other side of.
screwdriver, her standing in the twins'
Smashing
room
the-
talking,
the window,
smashing
or
the mirror and everything. Seeing all these different things for her
Yeah.
that
And
we've
then-
seen peppered throughout.
And then you saw the mom in the funeral home.
Yeah.
Which then you see it from her perspective where she's actually having a vision of Nell dead, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, because who was it that sees her? Was it Theo that sees her when she's looking at the Nell's body?
Shirley.
Or is it Shirley that sees the mom?
She's laying on the thing and she sits up and says, "Time to come home," or something like that.
But at one point, doesn't one of them in that room look back and see the mom?
Yeah.
Like, and they think it's a ghost, and like, but then it turns out that it's like
Yeah.
she's seeing that.
Yeah, it's Cheryl.
Okay, I was thinking it was Theo, but
Yeah.
uh,
No, Theo sees. Maybe it is Theo. Maybe it's both of them. Because the mom sees Nell and she has to cut the wire holding her jaw closed.
that's fun.
And she's like, "Mommy," and like Luke's dead on. Is that the one you're talking about where Luke's dead on the ground?
Yeah,
It's that
Yeah.
scene.
yeah. And the Dudley stuff in the finale,
Oh,
like not only
Getting-
feeling for them, but
Yeah.
then like just the way that Robert Longstreet plays the pitch, like just
you can't take this from us.
yeah. And it's like, how can you say no to that?
I know.
Like your wife just killed these fucking people's kid. Like
yeah, like what do you have to say no to?
yeah, like they're
Like what ground do you have to say no to?
Yeah.
To them.
yeah.
I
Oh.
mean, the only thing I could argue is that no other people are going to die here if I leave this up.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Someone's going to get into this house. Someone is going to die.
And then you see the two Dudleys both dying there, right? Like in the future.
You see the
thing.
mom. The mom dies.
No, I thought you see the dad bring the mom's body.
Then
and
the mom. No, she doesn't die until not her body. It's her. He's like, "We made it," and then she dies as she's holding the baby, and then he walks up and he family hug.
Yeah, because I think
Yeah.
I thought it implied that he at some point he dies too,
Yeah.
where you see the whole family reunited. So
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, this it's so hard not just to like gush over this show.
I mean, that's what we're doing. That's
The-
why we're doing
the-
this show. It's so good.
The fan, of course, the hand trauma.
Oh, it's not a degloving, but damn.
It's not a degloving, but it's most of the way there.
I mean, that's the one thing that's missing from the show is a degloving.
It's true. It is true. But they did it because it's funny. The last one of the few times I
Howie, my
one of-
wife says.
one of the few times or the first times I rewatched it, I was just like, in my head, I had the Flanagan thing, and I'm like, where's the degloving in this? I'm like, I don't think there is one. And then I was watching it when that scene happened. I'm like, oh, it's not necessarily degloving, but it's the hand trauma.
Hand
right?
trauma.
It's like, now, imagine if a filmmaker had an eyeball trauma thing, and they had eyeball damage in every every
nail
movie.
getting driven into an eyeball. A fork just pulls it out.
Oh yeah, just plops it out like a grape.
Someone just pops it in their mouth.
Oh, is Hayden still with us? I wonder.
I doubt it.
So, what about let's talk about. We haven't talked about Shirley much.
Oh yeah.
I just curious on you because I just feel like you would kind of get angry with some of her.
Some of her stuff really bothers me, especially with Theo being my favorite. How she treats Theo sometimes.
Yeah. And I mean, she treats all of them. I mean,
Yeah.
she has the way about Luke. She, is obviously shitty to Steve. She's shitty to all of them.
She's very shitty to Steve with like the book and everything like that.
Yeah.
I can never understand. You're using us for blood money, and it's just like, yeah. Wouldn't it be better to get paid for something that you went through instead of just being quiet about it and keeping it to yourself and everything like that? Like I understand where she's coming from. Like, it's our family. It's like, he didn't do it behind their back. Like, he gave them the manuscript. He gave them a chance to speak up, and Cheryl's the only one that had a problem with it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I guess maybe it's because I don't have, a parent who committed suicide that
I also
someone's trying to make money off of.
I wonder if the younger, especially the twins, that probably would have had a problem, wouldn't have spoken up about it.
I mean, Nell was there, but Luke wasn't.
Yeah.
They had the family meeting, and Nell, Theo, and Cheryl were there.
But I
Luke
wonder
wasn't.
if, and Nell is just such a fucking darling that it's like, do you think she's really going to, talk about her issues with it?
I
Or
mean,
just,
she does at the later when she finally,
Yeah. Which
has had enough.
is so good.
Oh, God, that scene is so goddamn awkward for me.
So good, dude. Is that where you, pull the blankets up? With that scene?
It's just like the... I cover my face.
Oh, that's so glorious, man. The house itself is so brilliantly done. Yeah, it's so brilliantly done.
Now, if someone offered me that house for $250,000, I might.
That's what I'm saying. Like big old mansion and shit.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
It's a beautiful house.
Nell's thoughts.
Yeah, basically. My wife says random tidbit about Cheryl is that she's Esme Edwards' mom from Twilight. So that's
okay.
interesting.
And then in terms of let's see. So yeah, with Shirley though, I can kind of see where a lot of her. I mean, she's not necessarily using it all the right way, but I could see where a lot of it comes from. It's kind of like Luke, right? It's like, he's an addict and stuff, and he uses his family and shit.
He's fucking traumatized.
But it's like with her too. It's like I feel like there's enough with her that it's like you can kind of see where her insecurities and the negative parts you would see with her as an adult, you could kind of see where those came from. So it almost makes me empathize with, and it makes me love her as a character because they all can't just be straight laced. Like Nell, for the most part, is probably the straightest character in terms of there's not a lot of baggage, right?
Yeah.
She had a medical affliction with the sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
She learned to deal with. She obviously had a lot of experiences at the house, but it's she's probably the least character affected. I mean, she has issues, but not.
I think I think Steve is the least affected because he didn't believe any.
Well, affected, but he kind of is a prick with it. I mean, he gets the vasectomy. He doesn't tell his wife.
That is something that I wanted to talk to you about.
Right in the books. I mean, and then the way he treats he has just kind of the high and mighty.
He's the oldest.
He's the oldest. He just has that mentality where it's I think Nell is the only one that, I mean, she has her issues, but she's quiet about it for a long time, and then she finally blows up at the book signing.
Well,
but it's it wouldn't be interesting if they were all like her. They've all got to have their. I mean, especially when you got 5 fucking kids as a writer to deal with. How are you going to make them all distinct enough to where there's never a spot where someone's like, "Wait, which daughter is that?" No. Every time you look, you're like, "Oh, I know exactly which one this is," because it's they're all so refined and defined that it's I know who that is.
They're 3 different people. They're not copy and paste.
Yeah, and even as adults and kids, you could see the similarities, but you could also see oh my god, that person changed a lot from being a 10-year-old to being a 25-year-old.
But also, you still see some of the same traits carried over from kids to adults. Nell is just so fucking wholesome. A couple of stars and everything. That carries over.
Yeah.
Theo's kind of a bitch. That carries over. Cheryl's fascinated with her own stuff, but also at the same time, there's a couple scenes where it's just the mom asked her to make hot cocoa at one point, and she's like, why? And she's like, your brother and sister are scared, Cheryl. Come on. Be a human. Here, Theo can go with you. Come on, help out.
Yeah.
Kind of nudge her in the right way.
But she's also a teenager.
She is also a teenager.
We can kind of give her the teenager
No, absolutely.
card
and that's
a
the
little
thing
bit
is,
there.
I'm not saying Cheryl's a bad person for that. I'm just saying that just kind of shows who she is. And later on, it's the same thing. Theo's trying to apologize to her. She's like, I didn't give you a chance earlier. Go ahead now. And Theo starts and she's like, shut the fuck up. It's Do you want her to apologize or not? If you do, shut the fuck up and listen to her.
And then the insecurity with the cheating.
Yeah, she cheated, so now she's insecure about her husband.
Which,
cheating.
I mean, come on.
I mean,
when she opens that door.
That absolutely looked so fucking bad.
There's no way.
She absolutely had every right to be all pissed off at both of them the exact same the way she did. That's one of those ones where I'm just like, you probably expected me to be pissed at her for her
Some
hypocritical and everything.
You're way more. You're way less like. I almost figured you'd be like, I fucking hate Shirley, and just like baby out with the bathwater, and it would just be like some of the shit with her would just be. I don't know. I'm not like, not that you do that a lot, but I kind of figured that you just wouldn't like Shirley because she kind of.
There a lot of times I look past a character's redeeming qualities because they are so fucking heinous.
Yeah. You
try to find like the redeeming qualities of them and everything. But you're also evil, so, you like evil characters and try to redeem them in my eye, which is not going to work.
Also, the old lady ghoul was actually good, right? Because she helped largely.
Oh, yeah. She was trying to help. Like, nope, don't trust Poppy.
Don't listen to her, yeah. Like,
she's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it makes you realize that, honestly, when you look at it, the only ghoul there's two bad ghouls in the entire house that you can confirm are bad.
Are absolutely bad, yeah.
Is the zombie in the basement.
Yeah.
And Poppy.
Yeah.
Everyone else in the house does absolutely nothing to hurt this family.
Yeah.
The tall guy, everyone says the tall guy's all creepy and everything. He just wanted his hat back.
Yeah.
He lifted up the bed. The kid screamed at him and he went, oh, fuck. Sorry, kid. Floated away. Thump. 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 Nothing to be scared about.
Yeah.
He came back. He looked at Steve and you know what he was probably thinking when he got down and looked in Steve's face? Man, you got big, son.
Yeah.
Can I give you a butterscotch candy?
Hashtag wholesome ghoul.
He is a wholesome ghoul. He doesn't do shit to anybody.
Also, Hayden says, as a former child, I can confirm things do carry over.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Thank you for your expert opinion, Hayden. I really do. Brings a lot to the show.
Oh, man. But you wanted to talk about Steve's vasectomy?
Dude. You want to talk about unredeemable? That is some fucked up shit.
But I totally see where he's coming from, man.
No, I get it. I get it.
It's like the family, because there's other stories that do that where it's like, oh, there's this family curse, and like I can't have a kid because like I've got whatever this curse is. I don't want to give it to my. Tony Soprano has that issue where it's like he's got this depression and shit that sparks the show, and it's like at one point his kid has a panic attack, and he's like, my fucking rotten genes, I've impacted my child with this. So
okay. It's not a matter of that he got the vasectomy.
Not telling the wife.
You don't fucking marry someone without telling them that you don't want kids. I've seen this in shows now. It happened in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. There are 3 things you have to discuss before you get married. Kids, money, and religion.
I'd say a fourth one. Which Monopoly piece do you use? That's pretty critical.
That's going to end up being a divorce if you both want to use the shoe.
That's pretty critical stuff, man. You got to make sure you're compatible on Monopoly.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Bullshit. Bullshit. Because if you really love that person, there's no fucking way you're playing Monopoly with them. That is the game that ends marriages and friendships.
But it'll end really soon if you can't decide who gets the shoe.
Yeah, who gets the shoe.
Actually, it's the car. Everyone knows the car.
Everyone wants the car. The car's the best piece. I mean, come on.
I mean, the hashtag friendly ghoul would want the top hat.
Absolutely, he would. He's my buddy. I like him.
So is that maybe your least favorite character choice? Or not character choice in terms of creatively, but choice of a character is Steve's not telling.
Steve marrying a woman, and then
they're trying for a kid.
Dude, the fact that he doesn't come clean until they're going for fucking fertility treatments.
Yeah. Especially because, like, men can have insecurities about not being able to have a kid, but women, it's like 10 times
Dude, it's
more.
So much worse. I could not imagine doing that to
Henry VIII.
To my wife, yeah.
Henry VIII, wasn't that Henry VIII that went through like 6 wives because they couldn't give him a male heir?
Yes.
I just think like maybe that's built into like history, but I think that women get a lot more touchy about like infertility and like it's a reflection on them in some way.
Especially if they want kids.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is like this isn't like set in the 1990s where there wasn't as many women choosing not to be mothers.
Yeah.
It is way more prevalent now
for
people, not just women, but men and women to be like, yeah, I'll get married. We ain't having kids, though.
Yeah.
Like, no. I saw a reel the other day that made me think of it. Is like this woman was saying, always keep your house within 10 minutes of being cleaned, like you're having company come over. Like if someone calls you and says, hey, I'll be there in 10 minutes, is that okay? Always keep your house that clean.
Well, I would say don't associate yourself with people that are going to say I'm going to be there in 10 minutes. So that's my philosophy on it.
But a guy responded to this video and said, obviously you've never had kids. You can't keep your house that clean if you have kids. You know, that kind of thing.
It's true.
And so it's just like, another one I saw was like $5,000 a week, but you can never have kids. And he's like, pay me. Like, I don't want kids anyway. So like, and that's fine for people. And that's the thing is like, we're finally breaking that centuries-long stigmata that the only way you're a good human being is if you reproduce.
Yeah.
And I think that if he wanted to do that, he should have found someone that felt the same way as him.
Yeah.
Don't have a kid. Why? I don't. It's in It. What's his name? Richie doesn't want to have kids.
Yeah.
And he finds a girl. She doesn't want to have kids. And they break up, and she changes her mind and gets pregnant. And when he calls her and is like, hey, is it mine? And she's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no, the timing doesn't line up. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
And everything. That's what's so dastardly about Steve. This isn't set in the 70s or 80s or 90s where that was a little bit more of like a social no-no. I can't think of the right word.
Faux pas.
Faux pas. Like, oh, don't do that. Oh, you do that? You chose not to have children? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Nowadays, it's like, oh, you don't want to have kids? Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, there's plenty of people out there that match you on that.
It's way more acceptable to find someone like that. But the fact that he married a woman, lived with her for, what are they married for? Like, what do they say, like 10 years?
It's a while.
I mean, they're in their late 30s. So even if they got married at 30, I think he says that he's 39 in the doctor's office. So the fact that he goes the fact that he went a year without telling her.
Yeah.
And they end up at a fertility doctor's, and that's when he comes clean.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
That's fucked up.
And then you feel bad for him early in the show that his wife's like treating him the way that she's treating him.
Yeah, he calls her and she's
then
like...
then you later find out like the full story and you're like, oh, God.
100% a reason. 100% a reason.
But I think that's what Flanagan did throughout this. I mean, we talked about all the twists earlier on, but it's like Flanagan did such a good job where it's like he'd give you half the story, make you feel strongly a certain way, and then later he pulled the rug on you and revealed something else. And you're like, even Luke, you think that Luke's a junkie the first time, like with all that shit in Steve's episode.
Stealing the iPad and the camera.
And like just all that stuff, and it's just like, oh yeah, he's fucking broken out of his place and he's going to score, and he just went and robbed Steve's place. Like, and then later you see the other side. It's like, oh God, I kind of feel shitty because like I believe the same way Steve did.
Yeah.
It's like he's literally just.
And then also you're yelling at Luke yelling at Steve during Luke's episode. Don't treat him that way, you asshole. He's just trying to help his friend.
Oh, what about Nell?
Oh, Nell and Steve's. Yeah,
I just got chills, dude. And then it was right before he gets the call that she's dead, right?
He gets the call while she's standing there. And he's like, turns around and she's right there, so he falls over and then she disappears.
Yeah. Also, what about the knocking at the funeral home?
Oh, yeah.
With Shirley?
Yeah.
That's...
With the trick-or-treaters.
Dude, there's...
Of course it's Halloween.
There's so much good stuff in this show, dude.
So
it's just, this is a masterpiece.
We didn't even talk about Theo's ability to, like, feel we see things.
We largely we talked about the patient stuff.
Yeah.
And Nell using her, but like ultimately that's kind of a big thing.
Her whole thing with touching Nell and feeling nothing, and then not being able to feel anything afterwards. I gotta say,
and then that's why she's drinking in the
and that's why she touched Kevin in the dark, is because not only could she not feel anything, but now she can't see anything either, and she's just in the dark, not feeling. That has to be one of the most horrific things that I've never seen.
Yeah.
You didn't see that. You didn't know that she was going through that.
You know what I counter is the Indianapolis from Jaws. That's another one for me. All-timer of like one of the greatest things I've never seen is Quint telling that Indianapolis story.
Yeah, you hear the story, but you don't see it and everything like that. That's along those lines.
Masterful.
Is where you tell that story off camera.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, this character went through so much.
And that's where Kate fucking
nailed it.
Slayed that scene, dude. Just absolutely destroyed it.
I also love the light blinking twice come home, in Cheryl's episodes. The second episode, you see her little model home. Flick, flick.
Yeah.
Oh, it's ooh, I get creeps just thinking
Did
about
you
that.
watch the background as you were watching? Like in
I
terms of
watched. I didn't see much.
Really?
I saw the statue.
statue. Yeah.
I saw the statue.
that-
You told me about the statue. I saw the statue.
where he's walking in the room or he's walking down the hall.
It's the mom.
I thought it was the dad.
It's the mom.
I thought it was him looking for her.
No, it's the mom.
Oh, I thought it was him when he's looking for because she
It's
disappears
in
on
the
him.
Screaming Mimi's episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she walks into their room because the statues are across. She walks into her room because she thought she heard something. I think she's looking for them, and he's getting the kids out is what's happening. And then she comes back, and the statue is just looking down at her. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh!
So good.
Dad
dude.
told me about that.
So good. But yeah, I mean, we're pretty much at time now. What about MVP actor wise?
Oh, Kate Siegel. Oh, absolutely. Henry Thomas is good.
That's a tough one for me to pick. I mean, Carlo Gugino as the mom is
she's so good.
but also Julian Hillard as young
yeah.
Luke. Like,
Yeah.
I almost, I'm going to retract the question because, like, how do you pick an MVP with this cast, dude?
I don't think there's a bad cast. I mean, Oliver Jackson Cohen is old Luke.
Yeah, no, he's
You know?
incredible. Yeah. Yeah, everyone, Flanagan just absolutely nailed this when it came to casting.
Yeah.
Because there's not a weak spot in the entire thing.
No.
The Dudleys are both incredible.
Yeah, I have to ask you, how infuriating was that cop interview for you?
Though, I'm sorry, say that one more time.
How infuriating? Because I know how you feel about like cops like violating people's rights.
Yeah. Oh,
How
just-
infuriating was that cop interview? Just help us out.
yeah,
like
just the normal shit
you're
they
free
say.
to go.
Yeah, free to
You're
go
clear-
anytime.
You're free
but
to go anytime,
it's
but
gonna
you
be,
know how it's gonna look.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad for you if you leave.
If you leave or if you lawyer up.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's his constitutional. It shouldn't have.
Yeah, that is infuriating. But then also you just feel so bad for him because it's like he's saying what he can say,
Yeah.
and then when he realizes like he's got to change the story, and like so he does change it, which makes him look more guilty in
Makes
their
him look
eyes.
so guilty.
But it's just like when you finally get the full story and like see, it's like, God, what do you fucking do, man?
yeah, what can you do at that point? Your wife murdered a little girl.
Yeah. Oh man, that's
Like, oh.
That's brutal. Lydia says young Nell is so cute. I love her. The actress played her so well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that the twins kids were both incredible.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, they all of them were, but I think that like those two, probably because their age, are just so adorable that it's like you almost feel they're too young for this story, like which makes it
Yeah.
so good, right? It wouldn't be as good if those two were aged up 4 more years. Like,
Yes.
it would. It's the fact that they're at that age of like you just want to like hold them and like
And protect them from
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Like the mom.
Instead
that's why the mom focuses on them, is that's
Yeah.
her babies, you know?
Versus putting them down a dumbwaiter and exposing them to the most horrifying thing in the series.
Damn it, Theo.
Oh man, yeah, this great show, and at some point down the road, we might have to talk about some other Flanagan stuff. I know
Midnight Mass.
for sure, Midnight Mass, and even House of Usher, man, and Bly Manor. I know you haven't watched it yet, but at some point, it's one of those things where it's like
Yeah.
you start to like think, and it's just like,
Should I just save Bly Manor for when we do an episode? It'll be my first time watching.
yeah, we could do that.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do. But of course, this is spooky season. But spooky season is 365
Yeah,
here
we
at
could talk about
Geekery
Bly
Abides,
Manor
so-
in December. I mean,
Yeah,
'tis the season.
very festive ghosts.
Yes.
The Christmas Carol. You
Yeah.
know, ghosts are very
Ghosts.
Christmassy, right? Right, Hayden.
I mean, there's a song in Christmas we'll tell ghost stories around the campfire.
There we go. Ghost stories are year round.
It's a Yuletime tradition.
Whether you do it for Christmas or whether you're around a campfire in the middle of the woods
yeah.
on a full moon and telling ghost or werewolf stories.
Or having a sleepover with your friends under the blankets, telling with a flashlight.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or watching horror movies. That's what I did more. But
Yeah,
yeah, great stuff. Flanagan is a god.
absolutely.
And I do believe that this is probably his finest work to this point. Usher is incredible. Bly Manor is great. Midnight Mass is incredible. The movies, but it's like this feels like a crown jewel.
The creme de la creme.
Yeah, this feels like the crown jewel for horror in the 21st century for me. So it's easy for me to say this is my favorite Flanagan.
Yeah, go back and
thing.
rewatch it again. Next time you watch it, just take note. How many ghouls actually do bad things?
Yeah.
Poppy?
Hashtag misunderstood.
Hashtag guy with the cane, my friend.
What did we say? Wholesome ghoul or what was
Wholesome Ghoul.
Yeah, that's wholesome ghoul hashtag.
I want a T-shirt with that on there. Wholesome Ghoul, and it's just a big guy with a
just
cane.
the silhouette of him.
No. Have it like cut off, so you just see like the lower half and the cane touching
cane.
the floor, and you can see like his feet not touching. I want that. I like that guy.
All right.
I like the cut of his jib.
So let's go ahead and jump over to the emails. If you want to email the show and tell us some of your answers to any of these questions or geek out about the show. If you have anything negative to say, you could send it, but it probably won't be a very no. I'm not going to say it won't be friendly for us to, because we'll take whatever. If you're not into it, that's fine. But we obviously love the fuck out of this.
Oh, yeah.
This series. But if you have anything for the future as well, send the emails over at peter@geekeryabides.com or Tad TADD at geekeryabides.com.
Yep.
That is the way to email the show. And Peter does check his emails now, so
It's true.
got that. And then next time, episode 46,
Which is going to be one of my episodes, so I picked a subject that I'm very passionate about.
yeah, which is on November 2nd.
November 2nd. Actually, we just had the anniversary, the 11th anniversary. Batman Arkham City came out like 11, 12 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about the Batman Arkham games. The 3 primary games, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. Arkham Origins is another studio. It is tied in and has connotations with the series, but those 3 games are one of my favorites. I've said it before. I think we've had a conversation on here. What's a game that you would go back and replay for the first time? And I said Arkham City is probably my number 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to talk about the Batman Arkham games.
All right.
And I know you've played them.
I have.
So,
I have. I was in the middle of a replay of the second game, but I think Spider-Man 2 came out.
Yeah.
So that died.
Yeah.
Which, understandably.
It happens.
Probably the most anticipated game on the horizon for me was Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
So, yeah, that'll be next time. That'll be in a fortnight from now. It'll be on November 2nd. We did, I think we mentioned on our last show, but not this one yet. But there will be 3 episodes in November because the episode is on the 2nd. And we go every 2 weeks. November is one of the 2 months that you'll end up with a 3rd episode. So,
every 2 weeks. You had such an opportunity to slip Fortnite in there.
I said Fortnite the first time.
But you didn't the second time, Tad. You got to say it every time.
Yeah, I suppose I could. But yeah, so because of that, 3 episodes in November. I do believe I have this video scheduled out till the end of the year. So you could see all that. But yeah, I will sign off as I always do by saying, let your geek flag fly high, love what you love, and to hell with anyone that says anything about guilty pleasures, and punch them in the throat if they say guilty pleasures about Haunting of Hill House, because that would be blasphemy. Imagine that. Imagine someone, it's a guilty pleasure of mine, Haunting of Hill House. It's like, God, dude, just throw a punch him. Just do it.
And then throw him in the dumbwaiter and send him down.
Yes. See, that's a Tad kind of statement there. I'm impacting you, sir.
Sir, I've known you for over 20 years. Yes, you have impacted me.
One of these days we'll have you with a red lightsaber, sir.
No.
What about you?
Hug the ghouls. Wholesome ghouls. They're your friends.
Hashtag wholesome ghouls. I love it.
Hashtag wholesome ghouls.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.